Ziyuan. You are the goddess of the moon, Mianxia? I have seen Mianxia. Ziyuan. Your Majesty, can I not have chakra? Kagaya. Back then, when I didn't pay attention to human beings, when I gave you the power of witches, I restricted you so that you couldn't control it. How can you control it now? How is it possible to break through the concubine's restriction? This limit was set by me at the peak of my strength. Beyond the power of the blood following the snare? Kagaya was quite disturbed. Is there really no distinction between chakra attributes? Theoretically speaking, naturally there is no such thing as the 3000 Great Tao. But combined with reality, it is not the same thing. For example, the power of time and space is a terrible ability to use at any time and any place. In the ninja world, those ninjas who have blood inheritance limits are indeed stronger than common ninjas. Wood style belongs to one of the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, but it is transcendent due to the power of the sacred tree. A theory is just a theory after all, and it may be the same when it grows to the limit, but the specific situation still needs to be analyzed in detail. For example, the light escape blood inheritance boundary is also a powerful force. It not only allows the owner to have a constitution that is as strong as the yang attribute chakra, but also has a unique advantage in the way of sealing, and the light is everywhere. The development of the light escape secret art is also will be strong. For such power, when she first gave it to strangers, it was naturally impossible not to restrict it. Due to the power of this blood inheritance, the priestess line will not be able to refine chakra, that is, they will not be able to become stronger and master the use of this power independently. To use this power hidden in the body, you need to use special spells, and the cost of using it is to consume life. That's why priestesses of all ages are short-lived. As for being able to foresee death, that is just an incidental ability, seemingly powerful, but actually imprisoning the witch. Ziyuan. I don't know, I just use the chakra refining technique given by Yu Chen Big Brother. Kagaya. Send it over and let the concubine take a look. Ziyuan. Can this be posted? Kagaya. You just need to meditate on the process of using this chakra refining technique in your mind. Even if you will get a diary prompt, generate, later, send it over. Black soil, huh? Our diary group chat actually has such a function? Tamari. I never knew, if this function is available, wouldn't we share ninjutsu knowledge? Azuki Shion. It's always been okay, I thought you all knew it, so I never mentioned it. Tien. Wrong 100 million. Then can I spend money to buy ninjutsu from my sisters? Tsunade. No need to be so troublesome. Obtaining ninjutsu training methods through the diary is no different from learning ninjutsu scrolls. The diary only saves induction and transportation time. Tien. Hey, I thought we could share ninjutsu here. Terumi Mei. Thinking too much, if you can share ninjutsu, wouldn't you also try to share the blood succession limit? It doesn't exist. Hinata. The sisters are on the wrong side again. The newcomer sister is talking about business with Kagaya's sister. Hinata suddenly reminded her warmly, and the police were stunned. Kagaya. Send the chakra refining technique. Ziyuan. Well, Your Majesty, you may not understand what I mean. According to what you said, there may be something special, so I can't send it to you without the consent of Yu Chen Big Brother. Fragrant Phosphorus. Oh, sister, you are very enlightened, I like it. Karama Yakumo. I haven't thought about it if you don't mention it, at Otsutsuki Kagaya. Don't even think about whoring my husband's things for nothing. Samui. Calm down, Kagaya-ji must not have thought much about it. How could the dignified ancestor of chakra think of whoring for nothing? Kagaya. The chakra of all of you are concubines who are free prostitutes. This is the relationship between a big tree and its branches. You cannot grow leaves on your branches. Kagaya. Ziyuan, you are a concubine maiden, you must not disobey my concubine's wishes. Alas, isn't her Kagaya silly and sweet? When the girls saw this, they were angry and funny. Unexpectedly, Kagaya was still such a rascal, but she couldn't find fault with what she said. Zion. Well, the duties of my generation of Miko are over, and I am now Yu Chen Big Brother's maid. Well done. The girls cheered in their hearts. Kaguya's cleverness was useless. Kagaya was a little depressed. These cunning human beings, it is impossible to talk about them by reasoning. But at this time, a reminder appeared in the group chat. Ziyuan started the live broadcast, click to enter Cuckoo. All the girls joined the group chat one after another, and what appeared in the camera was Ziyuan's beautiful face with a slightly more special temperament, and her purple eyes full of extravagance. The camera was quickly zoomed out, and Yu Chen, who was suspended in midair with his legs crossed, was included in the camera. Master Yu Chen. Zi Yuan called out respectfully. Yu Chen turned his head, smiled and said, "Just call me big brother, is there any problem in cultivation?" He has always kept Kagura's eyes open, and he is very good at perceiving Zi Yuan's situation. No problem. Refining chakra and mastering light escape medical ninjutsu went well. Zi Yuan shook her head lightly, and then asked, "It's just that I heard from my mother that our Ms. Before you came, Sister Yi Kang also taught me the chakra extraction technique. I feel that it is not much different from what Yu Chen big brother gave me, but I failed to extract chakra. Why can I be successful now and have the cage level chakra you mentioned?" Zi Yuan's eyes were full of doubts. She asked this question for herself, just to satisfy the curiosity of Kagaya-ji and the others. Although he couldn't announce the chakra refining technique on his own initiative, it wasn't what Kagaya wanted to know. "You talk about this." Zhao Yuchen smiled slightly, and patiently explained. "I can also use the chakra refining technique that Yi Kang gave you, and I can also use the basic chakra refining technique of Konoha, and the refined chakra that the Lu people have improved based on their own chakra properties. Refinement. You also saw that I have the same power as you, let's call it the light escape blood successor boundary. The chakra refining technique I gave you is the most suitable refining technique for light escape and blood succession. But this is not the reason why you can refine chakra. In fact, you can successfully extract chakra by using the refining technique taught by Yi Kang. Song is different in efficiency. You can have chakra, it can be said that it is the result of the joint efforts of hundreds of witches for thousands of years, and it is also your own talent." Well? Zai Yuan could still understand the previous words, but she was a little confused when she answered the last sentence. A talent is a talent, so how can it be related to hundreds of witches? Let me tell you so. Zhao Yuchen chuckled lightly, straightened his wording and said, "You already know that chakra extracts physical strength, and physical strength is a combination of mental energy and physical energy. You witches have the limit of the light escape blood successor, and it would be very powerful if you can extract chakra, but your blood successor has a strange restriction, which causes your spiritual energy and physical energy to reach a certain level. I don't have enough stamina to extract chakra for you. If you use the witchcraft and spells passed down from generation to generation in your witches, you can directly mobilize the light escape and blood succession limit, but because you don't have chakra, you will directly consume your vitality, so most of your witches don't live long, and generally die at 3 between the ages of 10 and 40. Hearing this, Ziyuan's heart sank, to feel the sense of mission of their lineage. In the group chat, all the girls were in awe of the witches. Tsunade. I think it's time to announce what the Miko lineage has done for the ninja world over the past countless years. Terumi Mei. Yes, the ninja community must know that there are such a group of people who are silently contributing to the world. Samui. The underground palace of the ghost country. There is Yu Chen to make a move. Don't worry about greed. The deeds of the witches should indeed be announced, and the hero should not be chilled and unknown. For a moment, all the girls felt that it was time to declare the name of the hero of the witches. Even so, it is not worth what others have paid in case, but it is their heart. As for being angry with Kagaya-ji, they are not so ambiguous. It was not Kagaya who brought the demon to this world, but Kagaya sealed it. No matter what her reason is, human beings have vested interests, because what the demon wants is to enslave everyone on this continent. Kagaya gave the witches a line of power. Although he imposed restrictions, he did not take the initiative to persecute them. Whether to use it or not, whether to sacrifice yourself or not, depends on the witch herself. Even Kagaya gave the Miko the right to make a choice, otherwise no one would be able to deal with the demon. In many cases, having choices is a gift, and one should not be too greedy. Seeing this, Zai Yuan didn't speak, just looked at Zhao Yuchen quietly. At this time, Yu Chen is accelerating the absorption of the Aster Chakra, rewarded from the diary. If he doesn't receive the memories, he doesn't know so many things. Hey, wait a minute. After reading a memory, Yu Chen was taken aback. Sure enough, the temples in heaven are not simple. So the temple, the daimyo, the shadow, the 3 pillars stand together. Sure enough, Dazuzi is not such a brainless person, let alone Uchiha Madara and Senju Tobarama. Interesting. Zhao Yuchen paid special attention to the temples that existed in the Hokage world before crossing. This may have something to do with his thinking more and more carefully, and he always feels that this force is not simple. Just to give a few examples, the first one, before Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama jointly set the tone to pacify the troubled times, one of the nine-tailed beasts, the one-tailed Shuhei, had already been suppressed by the monks of the Temple of the Wind Country and sealed in sand inside the cauldron. You must know that Shuhei is good at sealing techniques, a tailed beast whose body is made of sand and knows wind-style ninjutsu. He has a geographical advantage in the Land of Winds, but he is still suppressed. It can be seen that the monks in the Temple of the Land of Winds are not weak. The Temple of the Wind Country ranks last among the temples of the 5 great nations. Later, during the second Kazekage period, in order to improve the military strength of the village, he sealed Shukaku into the body of the young Fenfu. Be the first to perfect Jinchuriki. The second example is the Toad clan of Mount Myoboku. Their clan site is a temple, and the Great Toad Sage, which has existed since the Sage of Six Paths period, sits on a throne with the word, immortal. The third example, Fire Temple Jilu, known as the talent of the Fairy Clan, can perform Senju Kill, that is, use chakra to form Senju Guanyin to appear behind him, and use Gold Chakra Fist to attack the enemy at super speed. It is not directly related to temples, but it is also related to titles such as Six Paths and Pure Land. The strongest attack method of Senju Hashirama, named Sage Art, Shinsu Senju, Top Buddha. Senju Hashirama's father was named Senju Batsuma. These, if not a coincidence, naturally have deep meaning. Zhao Yuchen has a clear understanding of this past through some of the memories left by the witches of the past in chakra. For thousands of years, it's not that the witches of your lineage haven't thought about changing the situation of being unable to practice. Zhao Yuchen looked at Ziyuan, and continued. After the summarization, discovery and research of many witches, I finally discovered that there is a strange restriction in the blood in their bodies, which limits their physical strength to just below the pass line that can refine chakra. After several generations of witches tried, they found that they did not have the power to break through this restriction, or they would die when they broke through. So these witches began to consider using external forces, and practicing fairy art chakra as a good choice. As the priestesses whose status in the kingdom of ghosts is higher than that of daimyo, they can easily get in touch with the Temple of Fire. In the Temple of Fire, there is a special cultivation method that only the immortals can truly master. The so-called talent of the fairy clan can actually be understood as a person who has the talent to understand the energy of nature. The Temple of Fire has a wonderful method, which allows the immortals to perform some attacks that bless the immortal art chakra, but that's all. If you really want to become stronger, you have to use Sage Mode. You have experienced it just now. The so-called Sage Mode is after giving Ziyuan a generalization about what Sage Mode is. Zhao Yuchen smiled and said, those who can master Sage Mode are actually talents of the Fairy Clan. Entering Sage Mode can increase their various abilities, as well as ninjutsu, illusion, physical skills, everything. The unique skill of the Temple of Fire can't absorb the natural chakra for its own use, but it can be used in some special ninjutsu, which can be regarded as the use of sage art in non-sage mode. Sage mode is stronger and more comprehensive, the latter is much weaker but has no learning risk. So the witch began to visit the 3 holy places, and even searched for some relics before the appearance of Izuki Goddess, trying to find the method of sage mode cultivation, and the method of strengthening oneself with the fairy art chakra. During this process, they learned that they need to have enough chakra to practice sage mode. But it's clear that the maiden who can't refine chakra will be restricted in the first level. It's a dead button. Hearing this, Ziyuan's heart sank, as if she could feel the despair of the ancestors at that time. Several generations of people have worked hard to confirm that there are limitations in their own blood, and if they cannot rely on themselves, they will look for external forces. As a result, external forces are not so easy to grasp, and there are various conditions. And the initial condition was actually the problem they most wanted to solve. Learn Sage Mode, which can solve the limitations of their witches. But only by solving the limitations of their witches can they have the opportunity to learn Sage Mode. How ridiculous. Hinata. Good, it feels so cruel. Ino. Miko can also foresee death, that kind of despair is unimaginable. Makoto. Even though I know Kagaya-ji should not be responsible for this blame, I still think she has no heart. Kagaya. Kagaya. As an invader, I think that I am very good to the human beings on this planet. Otherwise, I would not only produce a little white Zetsu for so many years. Don't worry about Yuya's betrayal. Kagaya. The people I transformed into white Zetsu are all people who are destined to die or evil influences the concubine's rule. Kagaya. But if it is a demon, he will not only enslave everyone, but even eat people. Ziyuan. Your Majesty, you don't need to explain, you give me the power of the maiden. Whether or not it is our own business, it is my ancestors who choose to protect this human being with a life-strengthening seal. Ziyuan. Without your power, perhaps human beings would have been wiped out by demons long ago, and perhaps everyone should thank you. They admired Ziyuan's character. Perhaps, the genes under the influence of the light attribute blood inheritance limit are so bright. At this time, after Yu Chen felt that Ziyuan had almost digested the information, he continued, maybe, it's fate's reward for your witches. The tone was full of sarcasm. This ridicule is naturally not aimed at the priestess lineage, but at this so-called fate. Ziyuan also followed such a self-deprecating smile. Hundreds of years ago, a witch got a special stone, and later people accidentally discovered that when they used witchcraft, the stone would absorb excess chakra, and the next 10 could be mobilized by the witch. Therefore, the witches began to carry this stone with them, accumulating the chakra that overflowed when using witchcraft from generation to generation. The amount is small but pure, and it can be passed on to the next generation. After accumulating more and more, I finally reached the cage-level chakra volume. But because of this powerful force, it leads to the end of using it and dying. Until you show up and show the talent enough to fully absorb this chakra energy without dying. This also means that you have the possibility of breaking the fate of the witches. Unfortunately, your mother died young, because she was afraid that you would be lost in power, so she didn't tell you this. She just made a stone into a bell to accompany you. That's why I said that you were able to have what you are now, thanks to the accomplishment of hundreds of witches, and also because of your outstanding talent, both of which are indispensable. There was a sudden look in Ziyuan's eyes. So I can have so many chakra now, the power left by my mother, grandmother, and even more ancestors? That's right, so you can see the past of many witches when you receive these chakras. This is not the power to see the past, but you accept their memories stored in the chakras. So that's how it is. Ziyuan clasped his hands together in front of his chest, and his expression became very serious. So it wasn't me who broke the fate of the witch, but my ancestors worked together to break this fate together. I will definitely cherish this power. Zhao Yuchen nodded in agreement, then waved and took the bell on Ziyuan's chest, and said with a smile, speaking of which, this is your real wealth. Wealth? If Yuchen big brother likes it, he can take it. Ziyuan said immediately. Why don't you understand the function of this bell first? No, I'm afraid I won't be able to bear it if I find out. Ziyuan waved her hands quickly, looking very cute. Yuchen couldn't help but raised his head and let out a burst of laughter, then threw it to Ziyuan and said, you are my maid, and your things are naturally mine, so you should put them away yourself. And this thing is useless to me, but as my maid, plus you have the light escape blood successor boundary, it is very useful to have this thing. Hearing this, Ziyuan's eyes lit up, and she immediately asked, what's the effect? First of all, it can bless the power of sealing and healing. Zhao Yuchen explained. Wait back to Konoha. I will let someone teach you the sealing technique, and you can perform it with the light escape blood following the limit. It has a miraculous effect on sealing some special existences. The second is medical ninjutsu. The medical ninjutsu you have mastered is a modification of Huang Quan's own dark medical ninjutsu. With some basic ninjutsu, you can use light escape to perform miraculously. The healing effect is not weaker than the power of Yang Dun, summer. If someone asks me to seal or treat something in the future, it's enough for you to do it. However, the biggest function of this bell is that it can help you open Sage Mode in seconds, and help you master Sage Mode perfectly and risk-free. Open Sage Mode in seconds, help people master Sage Mode perfectly and with zero risk. Ziyuan shook the hand holding the bell instinctively. She has already gone to Amen, and under the popular science of Yi Kang and Yu Chen, she knows many experiments and even secrets. She is now very clear about how strong Sage Mode is, how difficult it is to get started and how risky it is. Because of this, she understood how amazing the value of this bell was. Spread the word, Jonin and cage-level powerhouses will come to compete. For example, the women in the group chat are already going crazy. Tsunade. Ziyuan, if you want a teacher or not, I can accept you as an apprentice, and it is not impossible to pre-order 6th Hokage. It was such a blast at the beginning. Tsunade. I am the #1 medical ninja in the ninja world, and I hold the 100 healings mark, which can teach you everything, so that you can carry forward the light escape medical ninjutsu. In addition, I also have the position of 6th Hokage. Tsunade. As you know, we, Konoha and Hokage, first consider the relationship between master and apprentice. Regardless of other relationships, the 3rd Hokage is a disciple of the 2nd generation, the 4th generation is a disciple of the 3rd generation, the 5th generation is a disciple of the 3rd generation, The 6th generation is a disciple of the 4th generation, and the 7th generation can be regarded as a disciple of the 6th generation. He is a brother of the 4th generation. There is nothing wrong with Tsunade's words. Of course, it's not like she was asking a price out of nowhere. On the one hand, it is the admiration for the maiden lineage. On the one hand, it is the relationship that Yu Chen takes Xian as a maid. On the other hand, it is Xian's talent that Yu Chen highly praises, and finally, it is for the good thing of being able to learn Sage Mode. To be honest, to have a disciple like Xian, it should be her honorable servant of Tsunade. It would be nice to learn Senju Hashirama's Sage Mode with the help of the bell, even if not in seconds. At least her own combat power can catch up with Jiraiya, and with other methods such as medical ninjutsu, and the advantages of more chakra, she can even exceed it. Ju Xingna. I do not accept disciples, we trade. I will teach you the sealing technique, you lend me the bell, let I master Sage Mode. Makoto. I can teach you how to cultivate the yin and yang attribute Sage Mode, which can not only improve constitution and soul, but also improve the talent to perceive natural energy, and sooner or later you can achieve Sage Mode in seconds. Karama Yakumo. As long as you want, as long as I can draw, I can trade it with you. Tien. I have wrapped up your future weapons and clothes, how about it? Tamari. Grail ore, take it when you see it, you're welcome. Sam Yi. Do you want my private maintenance secrets? Fragrant phosphorus. I want, Ino. Why did you suddenly go wrong? You don't want to learn Sage Mode? Shang Lin. Me? When I became an adult, I gave myself to Yu Chen Big Brother as a gift. What about Sage Mode? Anko. Yes, do you see that I am in a hurry? Yu Rihong. I can find a good man, but I can't help it. Tactical back. Conan. Then I am not in a hurry. Samui. In other words, except for Wooden Golem, everyone should not worry, it will happen sooner or later. Kushina. At Karen, you still see through it. At Ziyuan, don't worry. I promise that as long as I count them, they are all my sisters, and I can't let you suffer. Tien. Right. Chatting and chatting, the atmosphere in the group suddenly became relaxed. As Yu Chen said, Xian is his maid, and the bell is also his thing. Then, as women of Yu Chen, sooner or later, it is no problem to borrow the bell to use it. Anyway, this thing is not a one-time consumable. As for the reason why they pursue Sage Mode so much, of course it is because of Kagaya-ji's words. Practicing chakra is only within the framework set by her. Only by mastering Sage Mode can you be considered as self-reliant initially. Ziyuan. Ladies and gentlemen, please arrange it when the time comes, everyone will use it in turn, but does every sister have the gift of practicing Sage Mode? Hinata. Sister Ziyuan, don't worry, even if you don't have it at the beginning, as long as you are with Yu Chen Big Brother, there will be one day. Zion. Is it the special Sage Mode that two people practice together in the hands of Sister Makoto? Makoto. Exactly. Ziyuan. Oh, so this group is Yu Chen Big Brother's harem group. Convergence. Talk nonsense about the truth. Beautiful job. Shanglin cheered, and then posted a sentence in the group. Sooner or later. Ziyuan replied immediately, I understand. Immediately afterwards, she was surprised and asked, is the goddess Azuki Tuxia also? Kagaya. When he surpasses me in strength, it will be. Samui. You just have to remember, this person is not at Lianji by Wooden Golem. Inside the post house, a fury arose in Wooden Golem's heart. She is not stupid, and understands that Samuel is deliberately using aggressive tactics. But she still felt very angry, and had the urge to make an appointment with Samui. I'll bear it, I will never join you, Wooden Golem. Go to the mirror and admonish yourself by Wooden Golem. In the sealed space, Arway Matabi saw this scene, and chakra flickered all over his body. It seems that I am still too conservative and need to increase output. At the same time, many women in the ninja world are not calm. Because after chatting with Ziyuan, Yu Chen recorded another one in his diary. Land of Thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village, inside the secretary's office. A fiery color appeared in Mabuyi's eyes, Sage Mode, bell. I was right, approaching Yuku is more useful than waiting for diary rewards. When I get the reward for not being discovered for the first 10 days, I should find a way to get to Konoha reasonably. At the same time, within the territory of the Fire Country, Fuzzy Village. Nadeko Shizuka looked at the contents of the diary, and then made a firm decision in her heart. She doesn't have much interest in what Sage Mode is, the benefits of being close to Yu Chen, etc. Now she just wants to know how attractive a man who can be so kind and trusting to a maid who has just taken in is in reality. Master. A few minutes later, Nadeko Shizuka finds a woman who looks to be in her early 30s and still has a lot of charm. Shizuka, you rarely come to me at this time, what's the matter? Master. I'm going out on time. Going out of the village? Master Shizuka's eyes flashed a glint. Is that the upper merchant named Sagiri? Ah. Nadeko Shizuka asked in a daze, Sagiri, what happened to him? Aren't you going to leave with him? Leave with Sagiri? Nadeko Shizuka wondered. Master. Why do you have such an idea? You only met him once, and you just heard some outside news from him. Master Shizuka was stunned. She could see that Shizuka wasn't just pretending. Could it be that I misunderstood myself? What do you want to do outside the village? Master Shizuka asked. The apprentice wants to go to Konoha. Konoha? Shizuka's eyes flashed with reminiscence. When she was 20 years old, she went out of the village according to the village rules to challenge the age-appropriate ninja world's most famous strongman. Challenge in the order of encounter. When you win and you like it, then bring the opponent back to Fuzzy Village. She lost a few games first, then won a few games easily, but she couldn't find a suitable person to bring back to the village to be her husband until she met Jiraiya. The battle between her and Jiraiya ended in a draw, and she used this as an excuse not to bring her son-in-law back to the village, and she has been alone until now. But in fact, she knew that Jiraiya didn't use all her strength at all, and deliberately broke the battle to a draw, so as to save her face and an excuse to return to the village. Jiraiya's character and strength are recognized by her, so she and Jiraiya agreed to let their disciples fight again when they are of the right age. If her disciples win, Jiraiya's disciples need to go to Nadeshiko village to marry and give generous rewards bride price. And Jiraiya is the person of Konohagakure. What are you doing at Konoha? I want to inquire about Master Jiraiya's disciples. Nadeko Shizuka lied. Know your future opponent? Yes. Master Shizuka thought about it silently, nodded for a while and said, all right. Konoha village's popularity has risen sharply recently, and there is a tendency to return to the top. It has been a long time since the 5 hidden villages have all held the Chunin exam together. This time I just went to take a look and learn about the structure of the genin world on the spot. Hearing this, Nadeko Shizuka's eyes lit up. Master, this is obviously the meaning of promise. But soon she realized something and asked, Master, are you going too? Of course. Shizuka's master Nadeko Hongi nodded with a chuckle, stretched out a hand on Shizuka's forehead and said, you have no experience of going out, Master. I'm afraid that you will be cheated when you go out and count the money for others. No, I'm not stupid. Stupid or not, you have to go outside to find out. I will definitely prove myself. Shizuka chatted with Momiji. At the same time, Tien Guoyan entered the village. Guren looked at the content in the diary, sighed, and asked Chongwu. Do you really want to be loyal to Yu Chen? He is my best shackle. Zhongwu nodded. I see peace in him. Guren, I advise you not to do meaningless things. Can I do it? Guren smiled and shook her head. In Yin'an village, all the dead people of Lord Orochimaru were killed, and everyone else chose to join him. Even Kimimaro and Yakushi Kabuto were no exceptions. What can I do alone? I'm just confused about the future. With Tayuya's constant persuasion, she also realizes that Orochimaru is a villain. It is against human nature to use children for experiments, and to feed living humans to summoning beasts. Although Orochimaru has saved her life, she has also worked for Orochimaru for many years, and even did some things against her will. There is no need for the other party to die, but also to be buried with him. When Yu Chen sees me, maybe I can see the direction of the future clearly. At the same time, on the isolated island, Zhao Yu Chen asked Shadow Clone to prepare the dishes, and after eating with Zi Yuan, he found a place to sit cross-legged. Yu Chen, big brother, don't we go to the country of ghosts? Don't worry. The natural energy here is very strong, suitable for me to do something. You also concentrate on practicing for a while. I will give you the Shadow Clone technique. We will wait a few days before going to the Kingdom of Ghosts. Yes. Zi Yuan was naturally meaningless. Zhao Yu Chen immediately entered the state of cultivation. On the first day, he fused Uchiha Itachi's left eye into the sky eye. The next day, fuse Uchiha Itachi's right eye. On the third day, fuse Fugaku's left eye. When the third day was over, a strange light appeared in the vertical lines between Yu Chen's brows. The name of the pupil technique, the standing of the sky. The power to predict the future. No, it's a possibility to deduce the future based on the existing conditions. This feeling is somewhat like a life simulator. In the Shaoshan culture, the highest god is the god who created the world. All of them are called distinguished heavenly gods. There are 5 gods in total, and all of them are combined into 5 pillar gods. Specifically, it is the god of the sky, who represents the foundation of the universe, followed by the god of the sun, who is relatively yin and yang, and jointly represents the power of the universe. The 4 gods represent the gods of the center of life who have not yet separated the earth and the sea. Finally, the 5th standing god of heaven represents the constancy of heaven. And Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan pupil art is exactly the standing of the sky, just like Shisui's double distinguished heavenly gods and Obito's double Kamui, it is the standing of double meaning. The effect of the right eye sky standing is to be able to predict the accurate future for a period of time. Each time it is cast, it needs to consume a lot of chakra and pupil power, and after seeing the future for a period of time, it takes more than twice the cooling time to cast it again. Assuming that you can see the next year with the standing of heaven, it will take at least 2 years of rest before you can use it again. And the use of the left eye heavenly stand still needs to be built on the basis of the right eye. That is to say, after knowing the future for a certain period of time, you can use your pupil power to add certain conditions and preview the new future to find a way to solve the problem. In this way, after the Nine Tails Rebellion or the Uchiha clan being pushed out around Konoha, Fugaku used his right eye to see the future of the Uchiha clan being wiped out, and it may even be a worse future. I remember when he met Uchiha Itachi, he used his left eye to show him the result of the Uchiha clan's control of the Nine Tails coup, that is, Uchiha and Konohaki were destroyed. Because no solution has been found, Fugaku chose to play badly, and even let Uchiha Itachi kill him for nothing, just to save Sasuke. From this point of view, Uchiha Fugaku is really more trash than Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi's madness may not have been stimulated by Uchiha Fugaku. Otherwise, according to the original intention of Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo to control the Uchiha clan, I would be more happy to see Uchiha Itachi kill most of the backbone of the Uchiha clan, leaving only the old and weak women and children who are easy to control but can inherit the power of the limit. Forget it. These 2 guys are disgusting and unwashed, and such a father and brother at the Sasuke booth are also unlucky and pitiful. On the isolated island, Zhao Yuchen immediately deduced many things after knowing the effect of Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique. Shaking his head slightly, he flicked his hand casually, throwing Fugaku's eyes into the static space attached to the original ball space. Uchiha Shisui's eyes, Itachi's 2 eyes are also here. The sky eye technique is just the pupil technique that devours it, it doesn't directly devour the eyes. If he is willing, he will use these eyes to be transplanted to people, so that people will have eyes that are better than those of common 3 Tomo Sharingan and the Uchiha clan's blood successor limit, but there is no exclusive pupil technique. No, Susanoo may still have a chance to open it. Speaking of which, my celestial eye contains the power of Uchiha Itachi's left and right eyes. Tianchi Susanoo shouldn't be a problem, right? Do it as soon as you think of it. Zhao Yuchen formed a mudra with both hands, and then controlled a large amount of chakra to be injected into the eyes of the sky. The power of Mangekyo Sharingan is activated, and the ultimate power residing in it is not sleeping. Boom. Numerous gold chakra emerged from Zhao Yuchen's body, and the arms and ribs were condensed at a speed visible to the naked eye, quickly turning into a skeleton shape, and then forming meridian and chakra flesh, and then a coat-like chakra package, and then adding Watengu armor. After half of the chakra titan is fully formed, the volume begins to increase significantly, and the lower body and legs are derived. And Zhao Yuchen was placed between the eyebrows of chakra titan's head and was transferred to the half-empty box. It didn't take long for a gold titan with a height of tens of meters to take shape completely, standing proudly on the isolated island. Zhao Yuchen feels that if he continues to output chakra, he can make this chakra even bigger, that is, while continuing to grow in size, he can grow wings on his back. But he didn't do that, because that would consume a lot of chakra and would affect the Tensagon's gestation. Without affecting Tensagon's gestation, I can only activate the 4th form, Susanoo. If I meet Madara, he will definitely talk to me. It seems that this Susanoo is not suitable for me at the moment. Zhao Yuchen shook his head in disappointment. If these words were heard by Uchiha Madara, the latter would probably die without words. You must know that the latter suffered a lot in order to awaken Rinnegan. And Susanoo is the 3rd power that can only be unlocked by opening the Mangekyo Sharingan, known as the God's Calendar. Normally, common Mangekyo Sharingan can activate Susanoo to the 2nd state at most. If it is opened to the 3rd state, it will be blind if it is used up. it is a desperate hole card. As for the fourth form and the full body form, that is the realm that eternal Mangekyo can touch, and there must be enough chakra to squander. When gestating Tensigen at the same level as Rinnegan, you can still turn Susanoo to the fourth state, which is not the case with Mangekyo Sharingan in the strict sense. One can imagine how terrifying this amount of chakra is. What is this? On a beach on an isolated island, Zi Yuan, who was developing light escape ninjutsu under the guidance of enthusiastic sisters, and caught some seafood by the way, saw Gold Titan, and subconsciously swallowed her saliva. Without hesitation, she immediately opened the live broadcast room. Yi Kang. Why did the live broadcast suddenly start? Could it be that I didn't point out? What is this big guy? Black soil. So handsome Gold Titan. What kind of mechanism is this? Anko. Didn't you realize that the gold part is chakra? Terumi Mei. This reminder is not much worse than that of the tail beast, but it is all made by chakra. Samui. Calm down, I want to know, it must be Yu Chen who is experimenting with new ninjutsu. Makoto. It's Susanoo, the fourth form. Tsunade. This is Susanoo, the power to destroy the world that Shira of the ninja world can rival my great-grandfather's strongest wood style? Makoto. Uchiha Madara owns the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which should have already opened the full-body Susanoo. With enough chakra, it can grow infinitely larger. Its body size can be dozens or hundreds of times larger than what we saw. Even tailed beasts are toys. Makoto. Even if I use my eyes blindly, I still can't open the fourth form, but Yu Chen can definitely open the full body. There should be some special reason for not using it now. Kagaya. He is awakening Tensigen, most of the body chakra cannot be easily used. Hiss. The girls were horrified. Most of the chakra can't be used, but you can open the fourth form of Susanoo. How terrible is Yu Chen's chakra now? But obviously, they were shocked too early. By the way, I am different from Sasuke and Uchiha Madara, but I know Sage Mode. I remember that after Sasuke fully adapted to the curse seal, he used the power of Chongo to attach natural energy to Susanoo's body, and the curse seal pattern would appear on the surface of Susanoo, which gave the attack the magic attribute, and could even deal damage to Obito of 10 Tails Jinchuriki harm. Then Zhao Yu Chen clapped his hands together without hesitation. Sage Mode. Strange lines appeared on his body immediately, and extended to the entire Susanoo. Numerous natural energies around Yu Chen poured into Yu Chen's body, and quickly transformed into celestial chakra. Boom. Naturally, chakra gathered behind Susanoo and finally turned into a wing. The air wave pushed away. Gold Titan soared into the sky, and flew into the clouds in the blink of an eye. Female. Susanoo can actually support the Rishi mode, which is something that even Uchiha Madara can't do. Wow. Take off. Worth remembering. Floating is a different kind of swimming. Susanoo is equipped with wings and jets. This is called flying. I feel that I can fly directly to the moon now, and I don't know if it is an illusion. Comfortable, but it consumes too much chakra. My chakra is still too little. Tay. It is enough for you to return Versailles in your diary. Boom. Not long after leaving, Zhao Yu Chen swooped down with Susanoo, came to the seaside of the isolated island, grabbed Ziyuan in his hands, and then headed towards the ghost country. It took Ziyuan 5 days to travel by boat, and he saw the huge island where the ghost country was located in less than half an hour. After landing, Zhao Yu Chen lifted Susanoo's state, let Ziyuan take her into the underground palace, and then went to the place where the enchanting soul was sealed for reinforcement. After the reinforcement is over, he has an enchantment seal that will actively transform natural energy under the surrounding arrangement. The whole process was very short. Zhao Yu Chen took Zi Yuan and left again without alarming anyone. Yu Chen big brother, where are we going now? Ziyuan asked. Go back to Konoha. Zhao Yu Chen thought for a while. The left eye Tianji Chongli's pupil technique must be used with the right eye, otherwise it will be a life simulator that cannot be started, so what he wants to do most now is to find Uchiha Obito. But on the moon before, he couldn't find the hiding place of Obito with the huge Tensigen, so he couldn't do it for the time being. So he wants to go back to Konoha and get the left eye Kamui from Kakashi. Maybe there will be a surprise. Meanwhile, the siege. Black Zetsu looked at Uchiha Madara in front of him and smiled grimly. Madara, you were just my pawn after all. Next, because of killing enterprises. Behind Black Zetsu, there stands a blue-black chakra titan with an imposing manner like a demon god. It is the perfect body of Uchiha Madara, Susanoo, standing between heaven and earth. Madara's Susanoo should be blue, but now it is filled with all kinds of black, giving people a chilling feeling. And at the position between the eyebrows at the top of Susanoo, Uchiha Madara stood with his arms folded, his eyes looking dull and dark. The standard of impure world reincarnation on him has disappeared, and now it seems to have been revived in a real sense. With Madara's current strength, it should be easy to kill Yu-Chen. As long as there is no such weird guy, it is not impossible for Madara to destroy Konoha and snatch the tail beast. The big deal is to switch the identities of Obito and Madara, let Obito grow up to perfection 10 tails Jinchuriki, and then become the medium for the mother to return. The question now is, how do I trap Yu-Chen? Black Zetsu wanted to deal with Yu-Chen quickly, he felt that his plan for thousands of years was destroyed by this person. But Yu-Chen mastered the time and space ninjutsu of Flying Thunder God, he could run away if he couldn't beat it, and it was very difficult to kill him. No matter how strong Uchiha Madara is, it is impossible to kill Yu-Chen with one move. If you want to deal with Yu-Chen, you must make perfect preparations. Otherwise, after this opportunity, he will definitely be very vigilant, and it will be difficult to take action against him. We must find a way to limit his space-time ninjutsu. Then you need an enchantment or seal that confines the space. After a long silence and deep thought, Black Zetsu turned his head to look at the tall titan behind him, and a strange light appeared in Gold's empty eyes. If you use the box of ultimate bliss, you can do it. But in this way, Madara will wake up, and then he will not be able to continue bewitching. It seems that we still need to find someone to cooperate with. Obito. After his eyes flickered for a while, Black Zetsu suddenly had an idea. With a strange smile, his body dived into the ground, accompanied by a strange smile. Madala, follow up. Meanwhile, the other side. Zhao Yu-Chen didn't know that a true filial son was plotting against him. If he knew, he would definitely get back double from his mother in the future. After constantly casting Flying Thunder God, he brought Shien back to Konoha village. He wanted to go to Kakashi immediately and get Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan, but found that Konoha was building a building. In the cemetery behind Konoha village, all the ninjas in the village were present, standing in front of a coffin in collective silence, and in front of the coffin was a black and white head of 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Apparently, vigilance is the day Sarutobi Hiruzen is buried. Standing on the Hokage rock, Zhao Yu-Chen was a little surprised, to be honest, when he saw this scene. He originally thought that after Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama went back to Konoha and really understood what Sarutobi Hiruzen had done, the latter would definitely do some revenge. How do you look at this posture, and plan to save some face for Sarutobi Hiruzen? Is it out of face or interest? It shouldn't be, although the Sarutobi clan is developing rapidly, but the overall strength today is still not as strong as the Uchiha clan in its heyday. And with the prestige and strength of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama, there will be no problem using Duan Yi, the iron-blooded hand. Or for Jiraiya's sake. This is possible, after all, he is a super cage-level powerhouse, and he is also very important in Konoha. But Senju Tobirama is definitely not the type to submit. For a moment, Zhao Chen fell into doubts about the king. Until everyone finished the process, Sarutobi Hiruzen's body was buried. At this time, Senju Tobirama suddenly stepped onto the high platform, folded his hands on his chest, and said coldly, "Third generation is the Hokage of our Konoha village, and now he died with Orochimaru to protect the existence, and should be buried with the benefit of Hokage backquote. But the mistakes he made cannot be written off just because he is dead. A merit is a merit, a demerit is a demerit, meritorious deeds must be rewarded, demerits must be punished, but merits and demerits can never be offset. Third generation has been doing Hokage for 40x years. I can't take it away with a word, but the mistakes he made must be shown to the public, and the rules and regulations of Konoha." After speaking, Tobirama clapped his hands. Shua. Immediately, members of Anbu appeared and distributed the case files that had been prepared in advance, and all Jonin could circulate them. As for Chunin and Genin, the specific news will still be known from various leaders, Jonin or elders, after the morning meeting is over, or wait for the village to issue an announcement, to know with the common people. Soon, all the Jonin read the case files in their hands. Many of them were trembling with disbelieving expressions on their faces. Even Hyuga Hiyashi, Nara Shirju and others have long known that Sarutobi Hiruzen is not clean, and those who were prepared in their hearts were shocked at this time. The two big things, the demise of the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan, were actually carried out by Danzo with the acquiescence of Sarutobi Hiruzen, and even took it lightly afterwards and exposed the matter. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't participate, he knew about it in advance, and he didn't pursue it at all times, and even played a cover. It would be fine if he was from common, but as a Hokage, it's a big problem. To put it lightly is to not value your companions, to say that to be serious is to count meritorious deeds. Especially the Senju clan, both first generation and second Hokage are from this clan, who is the founder of Konoha and the master of his Sarutobi Hiruzen. How hard is the heart to do this? Then there is the study of Senju Hashirama's body, peaking at wood style and then limiting the boundaries. This is something that cannot be tolerated by any ninja. If it weren't for Caged Bird, I think my Hyuga clan would have been gone long ago. Hyuga Hiyashi snorted coldly. This is the first time he has spoken publicly about Caged Bird's sealing technique, which shows how angry he is with Sarutobi Hiruzen. Under these two incidents, what is the truth about Muyi Baya's death? The Uzumaki family was completely wiped out, counting on the previous Jinchuriki Ju Yukina, and treating this generation of Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto, who is also the son of the fourth Hokage, harshly. During his tenure, he contributed benefits to the family, making Sarutobi Hiruzen rich and now owns thousands of jonin. All these piles and every incident can be described as shocking. While many were Danzo operations, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew, acquiesced, or patched after the fact. But all can reflect the fact that he actually wants to do the same in his heart, but let Danzo realize it, and he himself will always be innocent. I see, Senju Tobirama is indeed Senju Tobirama. This is not to forgive Sarutobi Hiruzen, but to write it off when he dies. He deliberately raised the old monkey high, in order to completely nail him to the pillar of shame. Yes, Tsunade is now Hokage, but after all, he is the disciple of the old monkey. As a disciple, it is also the fault of the previous Hokage to pursue his master. After all, he will be criticized, and people even think that Tsunade is doing political liquidation, which is not good for Tien. Senju Tobirama, as second Hokage and the master of the old monkey, is qualified to do this, but it may be said that it is a public revenge and framed. And this is also designed to the special honorary status of Hokage. Let Sarutobi Hiruzen rest in peace, Senju Tobirama is showing their hearts. Next, he should remove himself and others, and let the mobilized people check it out by themselves. In this way, the old monkey will be completely crucified on the pillar of shame, and all clans and even individuals must also be hostile to the Sarutobi clan. Let the Sarutobi clan be like this. Uchiha's isolation and hostility is nothing in front of this thunder method. It turns out that Senju Tobirama did not lie. He guarded against Uchiha but also guarded against anyone that might endanger the existence of the village, and made relative supervision. Even though he keeps saying evil Uchiha, after becoming Hokage, he remains fair. Supreme kindness, benevolence, fairness and selflessness, the realm of the two brothers Senju. The old monkey can't compare at all. Zhao Yuchen expressed his appreciation to the Senju brothers in his Diary X and Organizer verses. When Tsunade and others saw the news, their eyes lit up, and they realized that this smelly man had returned to the village. And at this time, in the cemetery, Kakashi's acting skills were overwhelming, and he roared, "No, I don't believe that Lord Third Generation would do such a thing. How could he plot against my father for the sake of power? As a ninja, completing tasks is an iron rule. My father committed suicide, which shows that he also recognizes this." Kakashi. Might Guy hugged Kakashi and comforted him with distress. Ninjas really should complete the task, but the will of fire told us to protect our companions, and this is what my father told me with his life. Your father was not wrong, it was the three Danzo who fought for their own rights. An honest person like Might Guy said so, and other people also recognized this matter more in their hearts. Kakashi's eyes lit up suddenly, and he said, "Yes, it must be Danzo. Danzo did this by himself and wanted to tarnish Third Generation's reputation." After finishing speaking, he said to Senju Tobirama, "Master Second Generation, I don't know if I can personally participate in the investigation of this matter. I think that even if there is such an event, it must be done by Danzo himself." The others looked at Senju Tobirama. "That's exactly what I want to say right now." Senju Tobirama nodded. Hokage's rights come from the approval of all villagers and ninjas. Then when there is a problem with Hokage, it should not be a family opinion, just one person can investigate. Everyone can take pictures of representatives to participate in the investigation of this matter. If there is any misunderstanding about Third Generation, we must point it out, and we must not let the hero be wronged. Senju Tobirama's words can be described as watertight. Zhao Yuchen just wanted to applaud when he saw it. Kakashi and Second Generation both have white hair. Those who didn't know it thought they were father and son, but they were all black when they were cut. White hair. The girls subconsciously looked at Kakashi and Senju Tobarama who were playing. Boy, it really is. Time is like an arrow, and the years are like a shuttle. The most valuable thing in this world is time, and the least valuable thing is time. It has been a few days since Zhao Yuchen brought Xian back to Konoha. Because of some special reasons, in fact, to be with his women, and to temporarily hide from some disputes, Zhao Yuchen stayed at home and did not go out. But today is something special. In front of the Hokage building, there is a notice posted. This announcement caused most people in the village to gather here. 1. After the elite team composed of Hyuga Hiyashi, Nara Luju, Yamanaka Hai, Hitaki Kakashi and other ninja patriarchs, Might Guy and other elite jonin, and the joint investigation of villagers' village names elected by the people, it was finally determined that the following crimes were committed during 3rd Hokage's administration. True. 1. Framed fellow villagers. 3 Hokages and all jonin voted to deprive Sarutobi Hiruzen of the title of 3rd Hokage, seal the 3rd Hokage rock, and the Sarutobi clan will return all illegal gains, and the Sarutobi clan will be responsible for guarding the eastern border of the Kingdom of Fire. 2. In view of Sarutobi Hiruzen's behavior of covering the sky in the village, Konoha will build a Konoha museum. The deeds of Hokage and some village heroes, Hitaki Sakumo, might die, and the deeds and evidence of some sinners it will be displayed for future generations to learn and alert future generations. It is also stipulated that ninja school students should visit the museum at least twice when they start school and graduate, so as to know the past history. It is also stipulated that the Konoha Museum will never be abolished and written into the law of Konoha. If Hokage violates it, the identity will be directly deprived. 3. Konoha will reclaim wasteland in Yamanaka behind Hokage Rock, and build a reasonable and legal biological research institute, scientific research institute. Those who are interested can. 4. Konoha takes the lead in creating the Konoha Chamber of Commerce. All major ninja clans and individuals can subscribe to purchase shares. 5. Know the relevant content of the Chunin exam. A public announcement list is like a huge stone smashed into the calm water, setting off a stormy sea. Most people pay attention to the first and second messages, even if they have been mentally prepared a few days ago, they still feel quite shocked at this moment. Who would have thought that the 3rd generation, no, it was Sarutobi Hiruzen who secretly did so many things that harmed the interests of the village and harmed the villagers. For such a kind person, his wife died protecting Konoha during the Nine Tails Rebellion. I really didn't expect it. The investigative team includes Hyuga Hiyashi, Inoshika Cho and other major ninja patriarchs, Sarutobi Hiruzen's former disciples and teachers, Kakashi and Might Guy and other elite jonin, as well as civilian representatives, heads of chambers of commerce, and daimyo faction. All the envoys here have no objection, and this matter cannot be faked. It can only be said that Sarutobi Hiruzen pretended too well, and also deliberately used Danzo to do some dirty things, so some people may find it tricky. It's hard to say, after all, it used to be Hokage. No, don't take me with you, I actually thought there was something wrong with Sarutobi Hiruzen early on. As expected, there is no shortage of eye-catching people like you at any time, do you understand? I'm not eye-catching, I'm just good at observing and summarizing. Don't talk about other things, let's talk about whether the Sarutobi Hiruzen clan is thriving, and whether they hold key positions in many departments of our Konoha. The Uchiha clan used to be known as the Sharingan ninja world. In fact, there is still fire style, but it has been replaced by the Sarutobi family in these years, so Sarutobi Hiruzen has no fake public benefit? Why didn't you say that before? I said before that I was afraid that being invited by Anbu to drink tea would be a trivial matter, and those who heard it might not have the chance to see the sun the next day. You're right. Uchiha's arrogance and wanting a coup d'etat, he can barely explain it, but Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't even spare the Senju clan, which shows that he is a wolf. That's a good point. Everything about Sarutobi Hiruzen can be said to be given by Shodai and Nidem, followed by Sarutobi Hiruzen. As a result, I think we should go to the museum and see the evidence. Go, Sunrise. Everyone spits on Sarutobi Hiruzen from the bottom of their hearts. No one speaks for him, silence is the best attitude. Even Jiraiya looked lonely and even disappointed at the moment. Beside him, Tsunade watched the scene, thinking that Orochimaru and the old monkey died together, and most of them would not be able to be resurrected, so he was a little bit embarrassed, and asked, "Are you really planning to stay in Konoha? Do you want me to stay and help you?" Jiraiya put on a smile. Tsunade took a deep look at him and said seriously, "Jiraiya, Although the matter between me and Kato Dan has been clarified, there is still no possibility between me and you. You are not my favorite. Jiraiya's expression froze, as if she didn't expect Tsunade to see through her thoughts, or didn't expect Tsunade to refuse so simply. However, he is still quite old after all. Although he felt regretful, he did not speak as stubbornly or deny it as before. Instead, he said seriously, "Now I can somewhat understand the feeling that you had to leave here with Shizune." Staying here, he thought of the past, thought of Orochi and Sarutobi Hiruzen. They used to be Konoha's top management and Konoha's heroes, but now they are notorious. The contribution of Sarutobi Hiruzen is also displayed in the Konoha Museum, but compared to those faults, it is nothing. Even his disciple was heartbroken after seeing it, and he didn't even look for Yu Chen. Because Yu Chen promised that he would save the reputation of Sarutobi Hiruzen and spare the Sarutobi clan. Strictly speaking, Yu Chen has been in hiding during this period, and all Konohas are investigating Sarutobi and targeting Sarutobi. Only he, the Hokage's support, does nothing, which can be regarded as doing what he says. Did Jiraiya use this to force Yu Chen to help suppress Senju Tobirama and others? The momentum is unstoppable. Now he just wants to escape. Since that's the case, I won't force you to stay. Tsunade can understand Jiraiya's feelings, and thinking of his original decision and actions, he is not trying to persuade him to stay. But after thinking about it, she still said, "Be careful, Toad." Huh? A strange look appeared in Jiraiya's eyes. "Teacher, Orochimaru, you have seen what they have done." Tsunade said seriously. "There is no such thing as a free lunch in this world. People who are not of my race must have a different heart. You can cooperate with Toad, and you can help when you don't want to conflict with interests, but don't be used." Hearing this, Jiraiya immediately understood that it was probably Nara Shirju and the others who told Tsunade what Yu Chen said back then. This old partner is also concerned about her, and has no other meaning. "I understand." Jiraiya nodded and said, "I'm going to find a way to completely solve the demon. No matter what the great Toad Sage's own purpose is, it is an indisputable fact that Mei will endanger the entire ninja world, and it is definitely right to do this." The corners of Tsunade's mouth twitched slightly, and he nodded. She can't tell Jiraiya that the foreigner in the great Toad Sage's prophecy refers to Yu Chen, and the purpose of saying those words is to stir up conflicts between Jiraiya and Yu Chen, and even let the entire ninja world deal with the king. Jiraiya misunderstood, so as not to be in the enemy's rear with Yu Chen, step into the footsteps of Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen. Yu Chen doesn't like Jiraiya's personal virtues, but he also admires some of his personality, and will not take the initiative to do anything. Thinking of this, Tsunade said seriously, "Jiraiya, as a former companion and fifth Hokage, I have to give you a piece of advice. If there is a suitable woman, marry him. If you have desires, spend money to vent them. Don't do peeping and other behaviors. Think about it, if some unmarried women are ruined by you, or some married women are killed by you. If the woman reads it, will it cause a burden to others? You should be an excellent person. I, Tsunade, can quit gambling, and I believe you can quit pornography too." After speaking, Tsunade left directly. Retaining is only because of the old relationship, and now Konoha actually has no shortage of talents. The revived Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobirama, Uzumaki Kushina, and Uchiha Makoto, the newly joined Hakura, Shien, and Kurama Yakumo, who was restored by blood succession limit, are all top talents. Not to mention Yu Chen, and all the members of the Akatsuki organization who may be tricked by Yu Chen. Jiraiya, sincerity is just icing on the cake. Watching Tsunade leave behind, Jiraiya's face was stiff and she was speechless for a long time. After a while, he shook his head and sighed. "Is it because of this reason that you don't accept me? But it seems to be good." With different emotions, Jiraiya left Konoha alone without disturbing anyone. At this time, Yu Chen, who was sitting in the yard of his mansion, had a frown on his eyebrows, and made a gesture of throwing things casually. It was Uchiha Obito's right eye Kamui that he threw. Yesterday he found Kakashi and said that he could help him solve the problem of insufficient chakra. Kakashi trusted him 100% and immediately accepted his proposed healing operation, but he actually replaced Kamui with a common 3-tomo Sharingan. The burden and chakra consumption brought by common Sanguyu are naturally much smaller than those of Mangekyo Sharingan, and Yu Chen transplanted some Hashirama cells to Kakashi. After getting used to it for a period of time, although he still can't freely switch Sharingan, but in the case of not using it, the consumption of chakra can be close to zero. Losing one Kamui Mangekyo can no longer be regarded as a representative of kidney deficiency, and he earns it with blood. Zhao Yuchen was about to cast Kamui to send his shadow clone in, to see if he could find the trace of Obito, when suddenly a pile of papers appeared beside him, condensing into a figure. Conan? There was a smile on the corner of Yuchen's mouth. Finally ready. The papers were scattered like snowflakes, and they all flew in front of Yuchen. Conan's figure disappeared and reappeared, and he had come to a position very close to him, wrapping part of his body. The two seemed to be wearing the same clothes, and Zhao Yuchen could see a peerless beauty as long as he lowered his head. Conan's belly has a vest line, full of strength and beauty of lines, but the bottom is black leggings. It is a landscape waiting to be explored. But Yuchen didn't move yet. Conan had already said, "It's not that I'm not ready. I just want to wait for Yahiko to wake up, so that both friends will no longer worry about my future. I want my two best friends to know that I have found the best home. After that, I can stand behind you with peace of mind." As far back as he can remember, Conan didn't know what kind of people his parents were. The most memorable ones are two companions, Yahiko and Nagato, who even traveled across the battlefield to learn from teachers in order to pursue power. Now that she meets Yuchen, she feels that she has found the best rest of her life, and all that is left is to say goodbye to the past. So, she waits until Yahiko is resurrected. "No, you will stand by my side." Zhao Yuchen reached out and grabbed Conan's weak and boneless little hand, and said with a smile, "Then you are looking for me now because of the Shao organization? Well, all the members are here, and they are at the Hushan Research Institute. Okay. Then I will deal with them first. They will be important personnel of the world government in the future." Zhao Yuchen's eyebrows flashed, and his figure disappeared in an instant, along with Conan. Tsubaki, who was watering the flowers in the garden, showed envy when she saw this, and then worked more seriously. As far as she is concerned, being qualified to do things for Yuchen, she can stay with Yuchen, and she doesn't need to face the disturbance from the outside world anymore. She is already content. At the same time, there were many people standing on a clearing behind the Hokage rock. There are Senju Hashirama of Konoha, Senju Tobirama, Tsunade, Tianshan, Anshan Yun and others. There are also members of the Akatsuki organization wearing uniform black bases and embroidered with red clouds. Scorpion is no longer lying on its stomach, but showing a puppet transformed from its own body. Deidara wanted to speak, but was stopped by Haitu's eyes because he couldn't beat him. That's right. Haitu remembered a magic blessing halo, and beat Deidara violently, so that this senior brother would learn to behave. In addition, Kisame was also present, but he was indeed in the state of impure world reincarnation, and the person who revived him was Yuchen. Naturally, Nagato was also present. The atmosphere was the least clear, and the only one who was still talking was Hidan, who just came from near the Land of Thunder. Hey, what kind of party is it today? People are coming too neatly, right? If you kill all of you, Lord Evil God will definitely like it. It's a pity that my strength is not enough now. Kakuzu, why don't you cooperate with me? Isn't Konoha's first Hokage your defeat? Let's deal with him first, and then slaughter the others. Kakuzu. After arriving in Konoha, he has always had a bad feeling. I was still wondering why, but now I understand. When Senju Hashirama heard Hidan calling his name, he pointed at himself a little foolishly, looked at Kakuzu seriously and said, "I am your defeat? Who are you?" Senju Hashirama actually showed a look of serious thinking. Senju Tobirama couldn't help looking at Kakuzu seriously, and said lightly, "The 5 attributes are chakra, but there is a feeling of coercion. You seem to have 5 hearts that are earth grievances. So you are the traitor of Longan village." Due to entering Konoha village, Kakuzu put away his scratched forehead protector. But he didn't expect Senju Tobirama to infer his identity as well. Should it be called Second Hokage Senju Tobirama? Can you beat my elder brother? A disdainful smile appeared on Senju Tobirama's face. Senju Tobirama is a cold-faced guy with no expression. There are only 4 points that can mobilize his emotions. Copyright, Senju Hashirama, Uchiha, Konoha. Of course he couldn't beat him, but Senju Tobirama's expression made him want to beat someone. Hey, you're Konoha's second Hokage, right? Before Kakuzu could speak, Hidan pointed his sickle at Senju Tobirama, and said angrily, "Master Kakuzu is the one who can make the god of ninja world kneel down and beg for mercy. Be careful what you say." Hidan. Kakuzu spat out 2 words with an ugly expression. Although it has been nearly 60 years since he met Senju Hashirama, his strength is much stronger than before, but just think of the picture of that tall titan that hits the sky and kills a tailed beast with 1 punch. He doesn't think he's Senju Hashirama's opponent, at most he just becomes more resistant. Offending Senju Hashirama, 5 more hearts are not enough for him. Master Kakuzu, I understand. Hidan gave Kakuzu a look that I understand, and shouted to Senju Tobarama. I, Mr. Kakuzu, like to keep a low profile, but it doesn't mean that you don't fight back when you are bullied. There is still time for you to apologize. Otherwise, when Mr. Kakuzu makes a move, the whole Konoha will be destroyed. I will smash it into ruins for you, and there will be no one left. Hearing Hidan's words, Senju Hashirama, who was originally smiling innocently, narrowed his eyes, took a step forward and said, "Where do you want to fight?" Boom. The huge chakra burst out of the body, making the aura into reality. Everyone present was shrouded in a layer of haze, even Uzumaki Nagato's gaze changed slightly. Being annoyed by Senju Hashirama for the past few days, he felt that the god of the ninja world was probably in vain, but he did not expect to have such a hockey side. Okay, it's scary. Deidara's heart pounded in shock. He feels that Hashirama's current momentum is stronger than that of Onoki's heyday. Think of Uchiha Madara as a ninja Shura who is as famous as Senju Hashirama. He suddenly felt that it was not unreasonable for Inogi to be afraid of Uchiha Madara. So strong. Scorpion had the urge to make Senju Hashirama his own puppet. But considering the strength gap between the two sides, he only thought so. Hiss. Hidan faced Senju Hashirama's power, feeling unable to move his body. But soon, he became excited, because he felt the smell of death, which made him mesmerized. At the same time, he felt that Uzumaki Nagato was good for the first time, because he was assigned a teammate like Kakuzu. Boss. You are so kind to me to have such a powerful backer as Kakuzu. Hidan yelled at Uzumaki Nagato. Nagato was taken aback, unable to understand Hidan's brain circuit at all. At this time, Hidan shouted to Kakuzu. Master Kakuzu, you are really strong, even such a strong first Hokage is no match for you. I beg you so much to stop talking. My 5 embarrassing hearts all want to dig a crack in the ground and bury each other. Speaking of destroying Konoha, I remembered. Senju Hashirama suddenly stretched out a finger to Kakuzu, pointed at him and said, "You are the ninja sent by Taki Shinobi Village to assassinate me. I didn't expect so many years to pass. You are still alive." As soon as this remark came out, everyone was very surprised again. Unexpectedly, Kakuzu actually fought Senju Hashirama, and seemed to have the strength to survive from the latter. As for the nonsense that Kakuzu can beat Senju Hashirama, no one will believe it except Hidan, a no-brainer. If anyone could defeat Senju Hashirama, he wouldn't be known as the recognized ninja god back then. Brother, since he survived from your hands, Senju Tobarama couldn't help giving Kakuzu a high look. You said this. Senju Hashirama scratched his head in embarrassment and said, "At that time, Madara and I bet who would catch the most tail beasts, because one tail was caught by the Kingdom of the Wind, and it ended in a tie. On the way back, this ninja from Taki Ninja Village suddenly attacked me. I let a wood clone fight with him, and he was defeated in a short time. Thinking that we are going to hold the 5 cages meeting soon, I decided to let him go." Senju Hashirama grinned. After everyone heard the words, the expressions they looked at Kakuzu became very exciting. Especially Scorpion, Deidara and Hoshigaki Kisame, they all feel that people should not be judged by their appearance. Who would have thought that the oldest guy in this organization would be so shameless, bragging about the fact that he fought against the Senju Hashirama wood-style avatar and was quickly defeated, and pretended to win the Senju Hashirama himself. The old man just thinks that this brainless guy is nagging, so he casually scares him, but he didn't expect him to take it seriously. Kakuzu argued in a panic. Spreading rumors and deceiving Hidan are 2 completely different things. But the eyes of everyone became even more contemptuous. To deceive a fool, do you have a good conscience? Kakuzu. Sure enough, I'd rather die. Hey, you guys seem to have a lot of fun chatting. Suddenly, a voice sounded, attracting everyone's attention. It was a man whose eyes were covered by a white cloth, with strange lines between his brows and an air of dust. What surprised many members of the Akatsuki organization was that this person appeared with the white tiger in his arms. So, this is the big sister head husband. I'll go. Who is this man? Deidara said to Chie in surprise. He can attack the white tiger. There must be something wrong with his brain. You scum is far from my origin. Well done, all must die. Conan. Mr. Yu Chen, can you teach Deidara a lesson? Call. Who? Horrible, horrible. On the mountain behind Hokage Rock, Deidara knelt down on the ground, panting heavily. The uniform of Akatsuki organization was soaked with sweat, and his eyes were full of horror. Seeing this scene, Senju Hashirama and others couldn't help being silent, with shock in their hearts. It can be seen from the amount of chakra that Deidara is a proper Kage level, not to mention that he has secret skills, and he is the proud student of 3rd Tsuchikage Onogi. But after Konan spoke, Yu Chen just turned his head to face him, and after a second, he made it look like this. They can feel that Deidara's mental energy has been greatly reduced, and it is estimated that he will not be able to use a few ninjutsu. What kind of method is this? Illusion. Senju Tobarama recognized Yu Chen's method through Deidara's situation, but he was even more surprised in his heart. Illusion. No matter the type activated by Yin Dun, or the type activated by Bloodline Boundary or Bloodline Snare, all use chakra to interfere with the opponent's 5 senses, causing the opponent's chakra to be confused and fall into hallucinations. In other words, it needs to go through the 5 ways of vision, hearing, taste, touch and taste. Yu Chen didn't speak, didn't make any sound in other ways, didn't do any inductive actions, didn't touch Deidara's body, and didn't let Deidara eat anything. Chujuki's eyes were covered by a white cloth. The illusion of facial features seems to be unable to match any of them. What kind of method is this? And even Senju Tobarama, the master of forbidden technique, can't see through it, and the others are naturally even more confused. Of course, except Tsunade and other women with diaries, they know that the divine lines between Yu Chen's eyebrows can actually be regarded as an eye, and now they have 4 kinds of pupil skills: distinguished heavenly gods, Tsukuyomi, Amaterasu and Tianji Chongli. Deidara like this, was obviously given by Tsukuyomi. Konan was helpless and sweet. She wanted Yu Chen to teach Deidara a lesson, but it didn't have to be so hard. But it can be seen that Yu Chen attaches great importance to her. Your strength is stronger than that bastard Itachi. After a long while, Deidara finally managed to overcome the state of mental exhaustion and looked up at Zhao Yu Chen. When I just escaped from Yanying village, Itachi used Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique to easily defeat him. In order to defeat him, I was willing to gamble and join the Akatsuki organization. The trick you used just now is the same as Itachi's pupil technique. As expected of Deidara, who regards Itachi as his biggest opponent, he still remembers Tsukuyomi's feelings. Tsukuyomi, Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil art. When used, the spirit of the enemy can be pulled into the Tsukuyomi illusion space. In the world of Tsukuyomi, all factors, including time, place, quality, etc., are under my control, which can make the opponent suffer great physical and mental pain. Except for first generation and Nagato, no one can resist. Zhao Yu Chen didn't hide anything, and directly affirmed Deidara's guess. His mental power is much stronger than Itachi's, and the amount of chakra is hundreds of times worse. Itachi can only force Kakashi for 3 days, and he can at least add a 0 after this time, while the outside world only passes for a moment. It can be used by him, and reading can indeed kill most people in seconds. Of course, as long as you can avoid his eye contact, or don't look at his divine pattern, you can avoid being recruited. But obviously, they don't know such key information. Even after learning that Tsukuyomi is very familiar with Mangekyo Sharingan, but he can use it without eyes, he is even more afraid. And the fact is the same. Everyone looked at his eyes completely covered by the white cloth, instinctively turned their heads and didn't dare to look at him for a while, so as to avoid being pulled into the illusion space by him without knowing it. When you talk later, use your brain a little bit, Zhao Yu Chen reminded. I understood. Deidara wanted to speak forcefully, but recalling what happened in the illusion space just now, and Yu Chen's last warning before leaving the Tsukuyomi space, he felt that he should not be fooled. When the time comes, I'll just pass out here, and I don't know how miserable my end will be. Obedient children will have sweets to eat, Zhao Yu Chen praised. Deidara said that she is not a child, so she doesn't want candy. But the next moment, he found himself being pulled into the illusion space again. No way, if my heart is heard, I should be punished? I'm wrong. Deidara was about to give up immediately, but found that his body did not lose control, but stood in the void with Zhao Yu Chen. You think art is explosion? Zhao Yu Chen turned his head and asked. Normally, Deidara would nod without hesitation. But now he was a little uncertain about Yu Chen's intentions, so after thinking for a while, he nodded cautiously. Then I invite you to taste some art. Zhao Yu Chen waved his hand. The next moment, the space shifted, and Deidara found countless strange-shaped things in front of him. These things are naturally tanks, armored vehicles, and format missile weapons. Next, Deidara witnesses a visual feast. To be precise, it is a feast of explosions. Ultimately, the detonation of the nuclear bomb is the endpoint. Great, because art, this is art. In reality, Deidara performed the body flicker technique in front of Yu Chen. Deidara looked at him with fiery eyes, and said excitedly, "Brother, no, brother-in-law, it's not right. Let me call you the boss. Teach me, teach me, teach me how to make some art. If used in conjunction with my clay, it will definitely be invincible. Please, please, everyone. You've changed too fast, haven't you?" But without waiting for them to complain, Yu Chen suddenly raised a finger. Memory passed down. Immediately, everyone present received the picture of Deidara's experience in the illusion space just now. Pulling so much into Tsukuyomi is too time-consuming, but passing on memory images is just a matter of carrying a little chakra. After reading all the content, everyone finally understood why Udala was so excited. Those weapons that civilians can control exploded with the power of destroying heaven and earth, landslides, all in the form of explosions. Truly an art. Is this what you and I mentioned, technological development? Senju Tobarama asked with bright eyes. This evolutionary route of weapons gave him a lot of ideas at once. It can only be regarded as a small part of science and technology. It will not be included in the Science and Technology Bureau in the future, but will be specially researched in the Weapons Bureau, and it will be the firearms department of the Weapons Bureau. Zhao Yuchen answered. Afterwards, he reached out to point out the two, and said, "I hope Tianxian and Bat can join this weapon department." "I'm fine." Tian immediately expressed his opinion. His face was also flushed. If the weapon in the memory fragment can be invented, her strength will increase dramatically. No, the common people will have the strength to fight and even slaughter ninjas. This is something transformative. I'm not very interested in this kind of weapon. Scorpion politely declined. What he values are puppets, institutions, and instruments. Firearms can only be counted as a small part of them, and they are not very attractive to him. I'll show you something. Yu Chen cast Tsukuyomi on the scorpion. In the illusionary space, cruise ships, airplanes, aircraft carriers, and even interstellar battleships in fantasy appeared and shocked Scorpion for 10,000 years. But soon, Yu Chen created a scene where Iron Man fights with armor, and the main weapon is firearms, which made Scorpion's heart flutter. A set of battle armor can go to heaven and earth, open mountains and crack rocks. It is simply his ultimate dream as a puppet master. But when the mecha appeared, Xie found that he was still superficial, too superficial. "Those things. Have you seen them all?" Scorpion asked hoarsely. "Of course, I've seen it with my own eyes." Yu Chen nodded. "Have you seen the movie with your own eyes? Have you seen it with your own eyes? The Hokage ninja world exists, and other two-dimensional worlds must exist, and mechs are just a small way. For example, Super God and the like, there are many similar methods. Not a lie. Can you make it? I can't, but I know the basics and logic, and as long as someone helps, then I join." Before Yu Chen finished speaking, Xie opened his mouth and said, "I can study and experiment 24 hours a day, as long as you teach me those things, I can do things for you." Very crisp and neat. Zhao Yu Chen was not surprised. Shao organizes these people. It seems difficult to deal with, but as long as the right medicine is prescribed, it will be very easy to deal with. Very good. Zhao Yu Chen nodded in satisfaction, and then said to the others, "Because the design has some secrets, I won't let the analysis Scorpion see what." Everyone. It's us who are self-indulgent. And then there's you. Yu Chen looked at Hidan. For this guy who has an immortal body but will be starved to death, he actually has a desire to study. But compared to research, the ability to curse people with blood is more useful. Most creatures cannot live without a broken heart or heads. Even if you can live, you will be seriously injured, so it works. Hidan was stunned for a moment, then laughed loudly. "It is impossible for me to surrender to you. I joined the Akatsuki organization just to kill people better. I am excited but..." Hidan didn't say anything later, because Yu Chen used Tsukuyomi on him. But this Tsukuyomi designed specifically for Hidan, with a little distinguished heavenly gods effect. A month has passed in Tsukuyomi, and the outside world is just a moment. After the end. Plop. Hidan knelt down in front of Zhao Yu Chen, and said frantically, "So you are the incarnation of Lord Evil God walking in the world. From now on, Hidan is your most loyal lackey. Running dog? How about never surrendering?" Then, Yin Jiaqi glanced at Kakuzu. Everyone couldn't help wondering how Zhao Yu Chen would subdue this guy. Yu Chen looked at Kakuzu, and suddenly said, I remember you guys were talking about the battle between Master Kakuzu and Shodai? Kakuzu narrowed his eyes. Don't think that thing can threaten him. The face that should be lost has already been lost. That's right, Master Yu Chen. We were just talking about the battle between Master Kakuzu and First Hokage. Master Kakuzu lied to me. He was abused by a wood clone from First Hokage, but he actually told me that First Hokage was his defeat. Hearing Zhao Yu Chen's question, Hidan was the first to respond. He wasn't angry because he was cheated, he just showed an awkward expression. It can be seen that he is indeed not very smart. Hidan. Kakuzu felt his face heat up, and argued, First Hokage is my defeat, I have never said it, never. Kakuzu, don't bother spreading rumors, you misunderstood yourself. Hearing this, Zhao Yu Chen became interested and asked Hidan, how did Kakuzu tell you? I can't say it, but I can play it. Hidan scratched his head, and immediately began to play both roles. Hidan casually. Master Kakuzu, you are a person who survived from that era, have you ever seen the ninja god in Legendary? Kakuzu nodded, with a hint of self-satisfaction at the corner of his mouth. The ninja god, Senju Hashirama, was always my opponent when he was still alive. B. Why do you act so vividly? Great. Senju Tobarama wanted to applaud. I have always been an opponent, should I mean an imaginary enemy? At that time, too many people regarded Senju Hashirama as an opponent, but only Wukage, those old monks, the three Holy Land, Immortals, and Uchiha Madara were qualified, and others were just think. Kakuzu's words are not deceitful, it can only be said that the gold content is a bit out of the sky. Hidan. Sego, Mr. Kakuzu, you were actually an opponent of the god of ninja, so you have fought before? Kakuzu had a look of reminiscence on his face, nodded and said, when I accepted the mission of the village, I went to assassinate Senju Hashirama. At that time, he had just finished fighting with a tailed beast, and I didn't want to take advantage of the danger, so I didn't make a move immediately. I didn't make a move until Senju Hashirama had almost rested, and I threw a kunai to remind him first. After that we fought a lot, the intensity of the fighting, and even changing the landscape. XXX, the current situation in that place has been changed by our battle. B. Come on, kill him quickly. No, even if this guy cuts off his head, his mouth can still speak. He might still be happy when he was about to be able to kill him. It's terrible. Papa. Senju Tobarama, who is the brother controller, couldn't help applauding, and said flatly, the so-called not taking advantage of people's danger immediately, it should be because I was shocked by the battle between the big brother and the tailed beast, so I didn't dare to make a move. Throwing away kunai later, probably because I didn't want to give up the mission directly, so I planned to find an excuse, but I didn't expect that my elder brother would find out about this small action. The so-called war changes the landscape. You may barely be able to do it with your current strength, but it takes a little effort. The real situation should be the impact of my elder brother's control of wooden golem jutsu in the battle with the tailed beast. At most, how long can you last without being killed? Still in the case of my elder brother playing. Every sentence is true, but every sentence is a lie. This wave of analysis by Senju Tobarama directly made Kakuzu want to explode on the spot. Sure enough, some things can only happen to Hidan, a fool, who can see the tricks at a glance. The problem now is that there are too many people on site, and none of them are from common, so he died directly in a wave. Hidan didn't care about Kakuzu's expression, and continued to interpret. At that time, I asked, Mr. Kakuzu, who won the final battle? Kakuzu showed an inscrutable expression, and sighed. Not long after fighting me, First Hokage passed away, and now I am still standing in front of you. Everyone. Damn, it's really a good show. Didn't First Hokage die because of illness after fighting Uchiha Madara? What everyone in the ninja world knows, Kakuzu dared to change the concept secretly. The most important thing is that if one dares to speak, the other really dares to believe. With this brain, I don't blame Kakuzu for wanting to deceive people. Don't you doubt it. Tsunade held his forehead with one hand, and said speechlessly, how my great-grandfather died is not a secret in the ninja world, is it? Because of this, I don't doubt it. Hidan showed a natural expression. Everyone knows that the god of ninja is not only invincible in strength, wood-style blood successor limit is also very strong in defense and recovery. Yongdan healing ninjutsu is better than any medical treatment. Ninja's ninjutsu must be strong. Such a person, you say he died of illness, do I believe it? So when Master Kakuzu said it, I understood that it turned out that after being seriously injured, he fought with Shira from the ninja world, and his life was not long. Everyone. You say Hidan has no brains, he can't reason. You say he has brains, but he actually believes Kakuzu's nonsense. However, what he said successfully aroused everyone's doubts. The fact that Senju Hashirama died of illness sounded very strange, so why did he die? For a moment, everyone cast curious eyes on Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. These two must know the truth. Of course, several women looked at Yu Chen, thinking that this man must know the real answer. Senju Hashirama didn't change his face, but Chisato Tobarama's eyes changed slightly. Zhao Yu Chen noticed this situation, and changed the subject. So, do you know why first generation let Kakuzu go? Now is not the time to pursue the real cause of Senju Hashirama's death. To make the god of ninja die, but also to keep Senju Tobarama and others hidden, there is obviously something secret involved. Everyone also knows this path, so instead of paying more attention, they are thinking about Yu Chen's problem. Cough. Senju Hashirama scratched his cheeks, his eyes flickered and said, "There is no need to bring up this kind of old past, I don't remember much, why expose people's scars?" Kakuzu was grateful when he heard this. Unexpectedly, the best person now is Senju Hashirama. The god of ninja is the god of ninja, with pattern, heart, and... For a moment, Kakuzu searched for all the good words in his mind to praise Senju Hashirama. He thought, first Hokage Senju Hashirama spoke, this farce should be over. But the next moment, he was dumbfounded, because Senju Tobarama suddenly frowned, and said to Hashirama, "Brother, you don't have anything to hide from me." Me? Ha ha ha, no, how could Hashirama immediately deny all kinds of things? But with his appearance, anyone with a discerning eye knows that something is wrong. Tsunade gave Zhao Yu Chen a look, beckoning him to speak directly. Otherwise, when Tobarama finds out the answer by himself, Senju Hashirama's end will be even worse. Actually, it's nothing. Of course, Zhao Yu Chen wanted to give face to his future big-breasted wife, so he said directly, "The first generation project just extorted a sum of money from Kakuzu, you can understand it as money for life." Everyone. Good guy, everyone called him a good guy in their hearts. Going to assassinate Senju Hashirama with Kakuzu failed, but was blackmailed by the latter? Master Kakuzu, no wonder you like money so much. Looking at money like this, it turns out that money really saved your life. Hidan yelled at Kakuzu, with the expression that I wronged you before. Next to it, Uzumaki Nagato, Scorpion, Deidara, Honest Ninja Kanaki Kisame and others all looked surprised. They wondered why an existence like Kakuzu cared so much about money. It turned out that this thing saved his life. Kakuzu wanted to tear the bastard Hidan to pieces, but in the end he had to think about it times and let it go. After living for such a long time, his old face can be regarded as completely lost today. But to his surprise, everyone didn't pay much attention to his side, but they all looked at Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. After being stunned for a moment, he also began to wonder why Senju Hashirama hid the matter of extorting money from him. Tobarama, it's all before death, I think. Seeing Tobarama's expressionless face, Hashirama's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly wanted to ask for mercy. But Senju Tobarama was unwilling, and interrupted directly in a cold voice. "So your gambling money was blackmailed from this man named Kakuzu?" Tobarama, it doesn't matter, it's all over, I can't get over this. Senju Tobarama said coldly. At the beginning you brought Shaogang to gamble, and the sister-in-law refused to give you money because she couldn't stand it, but within a few days you took out a large sum of money to gamble. My sister-in-law suspected that I gave the money, so she took all the money from me, but you didn't give me a word of explanation, and let her do it. The most hateful thing is that the evil guy Uchiha Madara has a lot of food and drink, and taunted the two of us that we have no money to drink outside. It turns out that the cause is here. Brother, you really did a good job. Hearing this, Senju Hashirama was hit hard. He pouted and turned his head to look aside, looking like a child who was unconvinced but actually had no confidence. He is the big brother, how could Senju Tobarama train him in front of so many people? Cut. Everyone. So, Senju Hashirama let Kakuzu go, is it for gambling money? The reason, unexpectedly, was that he took Tsunade-ji to gamble together. And this gambling money also caused Senju Tobarama's small coffers to be confiscated by Uzumaki Mito? Most importantly, Senju Tobarama was ridiculed by Uchiha Madara because of this incident? Family members, this is a deep hatred. Everyone tacitly stopped paying attention to Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama. A family conflict between the god of ninja and the god of forbidden technique Master Haidun, not that they can 8 trigrams. Zhao Yuchen chuckled and shook his head, and used Tianji Yuzhong to take out a document from the forbidden small space, and threw it to Kakuzu casually. Do things for me, you can be the Minister of Finance in the future, and these things can be taken care of by you. Chancellor of the Exchequer? Hearing this post, Kakuzu smiled inwardly. Do you really think you can be seduced by money because you value money? He suffered a loss on Conan's side once, and now he will no longer believe such words. If it wasn't for the reluctance and the fear that pain would settle the score, he would have betrayed Xiao's organization long ago, okay? But for a strong man like Yu Chen, he couldn't refuse directly. That's called ignorance of flattery. Especially after other members have agreed to join. Therefore, he had to find a suitable reason to prevaricate. Thinking about it, he had already opened the file given by Kong Kong. Hiss, when he saw the string of numbers above, Kakuzu couldn't help but hesitate. The more he looked, the more serious his eyes became. Although the speed of flipping was accelerating, he didn't miss a single word. Soon, after reading all the documents, he swallowed and said, "Are you sure this is not lying to me? Why? Is it good for me to lie to you?" Zhao Yuchen smiled and said, "You don't need to pay a penny for the whole process, and even at the beginning, you don't need much effort, as long as you keep your wealth well and strictly control it. What's the point of lying to you for a completely risk-free thing? It's you. Don't be a miser at that time. I hope you manage the money. I hope you can make money from money. I hope you spend every penny wisely, instead of being taken advantage of by others, but it is not hindering the development of various departments. Can you do it?" "Yes, of course." Kakuzu hid the document close to his body, packed the tickets and said, "I decided to make 1 tael of silver pay for 2 taels of silver, or even more taels of silver. I think all the projects drafted in your document can be profitable. Of course, you won't keep money like a miser, but invest money to make money. As for the various departments that need to spend money, as long as the procedures are reasonable and the expenses are reasonable, I will definitely cooperate." Zhao Yuchen nodded in satisfaction, and asked, "Then, will you be the Minister of Finance?" I must. Kakuzu showed a smile. "Is this job better than mine?" Everyone. That's not what you said just now. As expected of an old guy who has lived from Sengoku to the present, his face is thick enough. And with Kakuzu's response, Akatsuki organized all the cage-level backbones. No, there's one more person who hasn't done it yet. Kisame. How about doing something for me in the future? Zhao Yuchen turned to Hoshigaki Kisame. Sir, do you trust me? Gonshi Gisame asked with a smile. Boom. A weapon appeared out of nowhere and fell in front of Hoshigaki Kisame. I believe that you will be a partner who can rely on your back. This real world also needs you to protect it. Seeing the broadsword Samahata in front of him, Kisame was slightly stunned, then picked up the handle of the broadsword and knelt down on one knee. Willing to die for you? No, we are just a group of people with a common ideal, working towards a common direction. Zhao Yuchen made his intentions taller. In fact, the only interest in this world is eternal. This interest refers not only to money, but also to ideals, pursuits, and ambitions. For example, civil servants desire to leave a name in history, military generals seek to seal wolves and live in Shu Xu, to become famous, to be named Marquis and Prime Minister. For example, a businessman wants to be the richest in the world, and even richer than the enemy. For example, scientists pursue various truths and explorations. On the premise of being able to own and maintain interests, setting up a goal that can be fought together can become an unbreakable group. Yu Chen, you have already reached this level, you should be able to tell me, what are you going to do? Senju Hashirama made Senju Tobarama shut up with a serious look, and then asked. Unification, peace. Zhao Yuchen said bluntly. How? Establish a world government. World government. Everyone chewed on this word. Uzumaki Nagato's eyes burst into a bright light. Manage the government of the world, unify the great cause, and create peace. Use unified laws, perfect systems, and standard methods to govern the world. Zhao Yuchen is outspoken. Then what if someone objects? Senju Hashirama mused. Brother. Senju Tobarama frowned. He felt that his big brother was going to be stupid again. Don't worry, I'm just curious. Senju Hashirama signaled Senju Tobarama not to get excited, and said seriously, I have always said that we are dead and should not be caught in this world. Even if it is possible to be resurrected in the future, it is after the resurrection that it is considered to affect the world. And recently I have been learning about the history of the ninja world, and I also realized that some ideas back then were a bit naive. Saying that, Senju Hashirama showed a self-deprecating smile. In the 3 ninja world wars, where is the number of death ninjas and the influence on the major countries missing? As long as the 5 major powers still exist, peace will always be temporary. He thinks that unity is better than 5 heavens. Brother, I can't agree with you. To Senju Hashirama's surprise, Senju Tobirama once again denied his words. I think, brother, you have achieved the best situation at that time. Each generation has the mission of one generation. Senju Tobirama said seriously. The ties between ninjas, the constraints of temples of the 5 major countries, the aristocratic group and common people's desire for peace the union between countries, makes it impossible for you to unify the ninja world at all. Even if you and Uchiha Madara are the 2 strongest people in the world, joining forces is not enough to really sweep the ninja world, otherwise it would not have happened in the first place. The 5 major countries are already the limit of what you could do at that time, big brother. Otherwise, I would not agree with your decision to send the tailed beast out. Uchiha Madara is crazy and radical, but you are right in your steady thinking. Senju Tobirama's eyes were full of sincerity. Senju Hashirama knew his second brother's thoughts for the first time, and while being moved, he showed a slightly arrogant expression. He is the god of ninjas, does he need the approval of his younger brother? You have heard it, it's not that I can't think of the way you said. Otherwise, how could I have thought of joining forces with Uchiha to unify the Fire Country and create a hidden village? Senju Hashirama showed a somewhat smug expression. Zhao Yuchen nodded in agreement, and said, actually, I've thought about it a long time ago. It's not that the first generation project is stupid, but that the first generation project does not have the ability to truly sweep the world. Otherwise what Kagaya-ji can do will be reproduced in your hands, and Uchiha Madara will not betray Konoha and be counted by Black Zetsu. Hearing this, Tianjian's smile froze. Yuchen's words sound like he agrees, but why does he feel uncomfortable? Then what are you going to do? Do you have the power to suppress the entire ninja world by yourself? Hashirama asked curiously. My current strength is about the same as yours back then, not to the point of being invincible in the world. Zhao Yuchen told the truth, and then glanced at Terumi Mei, Tamari, Samui and the Black Soil Girls, and said, even if I could do it, I wouldn't use such a radical method. Forced unification is not counted. Peace. To be honest, you have to give these women some face, after all, they are their natal families. Samui called him by name, and Terumi Mei seduces and teases him every day, so it's clear what she means. Tamari and Black Earth are more reserved, but they are also very active. Therefore, the 5 major countries are not suitable for violent subjugation. My method, first generation, you can do it back then, it is a lure, to persuade Asia. Use profit to lure them, use force to suppress them? Yeah. Zhao Yuchen nodded, and said bluntly, I only need to show invincible strength in the ninja world, so that others will not dare to invade me. At this time, you need to cook frogs in warm water. We bring benefits to commoners, ninjas and nobles in the ninja world. Win a group and suppress a group. Those who are obedient will benefit, and those who are disobedient will fend for themselves. As time goes by, but there are obvious differences in the lives of the 2 parties, the people on the other side will feel unbalanced. At this time, they can only compromise, and the compromise can be followed by meat. But if they don't compromise, and choose the violent way. Yu Chen didn't go on to say the following words, but everyone understood. That is naturally to suppress and clean up. It means that Yu Chen does not force others to join him, but he must follow him if he wants to benefit. If you want to grab it by force, I'm sorry, I'm stronger than you, so I'll beat you to death directly. Very good. Senju Hashirama agreed. This is really only you can do, because we can't bring so many benefits to the ninja world, and we can't win so many people. But you are different, and you also have strength. Hashirama got it. He has Yu Chen's current strength, but he can't take out Yu Chen's current cake. He didn't understand it at first, but after seeing the picture Yu Chen transmitted with memory, he got an understanding. The productivity of the ninja world is improved, the people will live in peace and happiness, and the nobles will no longer be able to shine. Commodities and commerce will prosper, transportation will become convenient, businessmen will choose to take refuge in Yu Chen, and nobles will lose their minions. It is equivalent to saying that daimyo and nobles are not Yu Chen's opponents in normal competition, let alone be defeated. However, due to some reasons, they will not unite for the first time. In the end, it was the frogs in warm water, all cooked. It's good for everyone to understand. Specific things need to be handled slowly. Zhao Yuchen signaled that everyone should not think too much for now. At this time, Tsunade suddenly said, even if you have to take it slowly, some things can be put on the agenda earlier, such as site selection, architectural planning, etc. It will be much easier to officially start. Hearing this, Zhao Yuchen smiled and said, you don't have to worry about this, I've already started working on it. If there is no accident, after the Chunin exam is over, the world government, which occupies an area larger than the 5 hidden villages in the cities where the capitals of the 5 major countries are located, will be available. Hearing what Zhao Yuchen said, Tsunade immediately stopped talking. Afterwards, Yuchen assigned corresponding tasks to everyone, and then retreated with everyone. When he got back to the mansion, he was going to find Obito again. But at this time, Zhu Xingna suddenly found him. You are, because you want it during the day? Yuchen asked unexpectedly. What do you think of me? Kukina rolled her eyes angrily, and then said, I have something to see Lin. See Nohara Lin. Zhao Yuchen took out a sealed scroll, took out the red gourd from it, and asked curiously, what do you want her for? Last time I taught her the spiritualization technique. I want to see if she succeeds or not. Xing Qin lied casually. In fact, Nohara Lin has successfully mastered the spiritualization technique and informed her through the diary, so she is here to help Nohara Lin resurrect. Spiritualization technique. Zhao Yuchen nodded, and manipulated the red gourd to release the ice coffin where Nohara Lin's body was stored. The next moment, Nohara Lin's soul emerged from it and condensed into substance. Seeing this, Zhao Yuchen's eyes lit up. It's done. Is this a coincidence? Obito, Lin, Sister Kushina. The old people reunited in a real sense, and Nohara Rin and Kushina hugged each other excitedly. Lin, how is your current chakra, and how long can you stay in the outside world? Kokona asked knowingly. If you don't do anything, theoretically you should only stay for half an hour, Nohara Lin replied softly. Why is it only half an hour? I can't help it. Nohara Lin said dejectedly. Sister Kukina, my body has lost its vitality, and now I still rely on chakra of 3 tails to use the spiritualization technique, which is something I dare not think about before. That won't work. It's so boring to stay alone in one space. Let me help you find a way. Kukina patted her chest to make a promise, then looked at Yuchen and said, Mr. Yuchen, hurry up and think of a way to help Lin move freely. Hearing this, Chen, who was thinking about plotting to bring the king, raised his eyebrows. For some reason, he had the feeling that Kushina had premeditated it. But it doesn't matter, he already had the idea of helping Nohara Lin recover, and it's not just a mere spiritualization technique that persisted for a little longer. A piece of cake. Zhao Yuchen waved his hand. Boom. The ice coffin in which Nohara Lin's body was placed shattered instantly, but her body did not fall to the ground, but flew up and landed in Yuchen's hands. Afterwards, Yuchen gave a soft drink. Sage mode, open. Natural energy frantically merged into his body, and several incantations appeared on the surface of his body. Due to the quasi-Tensigan, his affinity for natural energy is still higher than Senju Hashirama, and he can open Sage mode as he pleases. When you really have Tensigan, you will be in Sage mode at any time, you can deploy natural energy for your own use, and every move can emit the level of a fairy. Then, he mobilized dozens of chakra reserves that Kurama wanted to come, and the ultimate yang power emerged. Finally, he formed a mudra with one hand, converging light escape chakra. At the same time, he flexibly untied Nohara Lin's top with another hand, revealing the hideous but frozen blood hole in the center of her chest. Sage Art Light Escape, Ultimate Healing Jutsu. Zhao Yuchen put his hand on Nohara Lin's chest wound. Light and heat poured in, and Nohara Lin's wound began to heal quickly. And in places invisible to the naked eye, Nohara Lin's heart, ribs, and meridians destroyed by the thunder attribute chakra all began to recover at an extremely fast speed. After about a few minutes, Yuchen withdrew his hand and raised a finger. Lightning style, Chidori stream. Yuchen kept tapping on the position facing Lin's heart, with a slight electric shock. Nohara Lin received an electric shock in her chest, and her heart heaved under the physical force. The melted blood that had been awakened by Yuchen began to flow in her body. After about 10 minutes of this process, Nohara Lin's heart began to beat independently, although it was very weak. Okay. Zhao Yuchen withdrew his hand, turned his head to Nohara Lin and Ju Yukina, and said, "This body has returned to life. Lin can go back and feel it, it should be the same as before." As he spoke, he noticed Kushiso was magical. And Nohara Lin is obviously a spirit body, but her pretty face has obvious blush and looks shy. I'll give it a try. Nohara Lin flew into her body as if fleeing. Jushing looked like Naomi, folded his hands on his chest and said, "Mr. Yu Chen, do you look good? How does it feel?" "What nonsense are you talking about?" Yu Chen looked like a gentleman, and said with a serious air, "My eyes are blindfolded, but not blindfolded. Now I can't see anything, and I judge by perception. As for what it feels like, the doctor's parents think, I only have treatment in my eyes, so I don't think so much." Hearing this, Muronai said that I will just quietly watch you pretend. The lines between your eyebrows are the eyes of the sky, which can be used as eyes. But they knew this from the diary, so they definitely couldn't say it clearly. Now Nohara Lin can still deceive herself and others, but Mingming can't. Scented phosphorus. Flicking Kokona's eyebrows with his fingers, Zhao Yuchen called out to the next yard. Da da da. There was a sound of trotting in the aisle. "Yuchen big brother. What can I do for you?" Shang Lin appeared with a bright smile. "Help her recover her injuries and strength." Yuchen pointed at Nohara Lin. Nohara Lin's body injury has been completely taken care of by him, but the cell vitality, body energy, etc. have not recovered, and under normal circumstances, re-examination is required for exercise. But if you have Kukina's all-round healing ability, you only need to be bitten by a small bite. Yes. Shanglin didn't ask any more questions, raised his sleeve and put his wrist to the mouth of Nohara Rin, who just had a hard time opening her eyes. "Bite it. It won't do any harm to Shanglin." Noticing that Nohara Lin's eyes were troubled, and she seemed to want to refuse, Yu Chen directly opened his mouth and made a decision. "It's okay, sister, even if the body is broken in two, I can heal it, just losing some chakra." Shang Lin smiled relaxedly at Nohara Lin. Seeing this, Nohara Lin finally stopped hesitating and bit Uzumaki's wrist. Both Shanglin and Nohara Lin instinctively closed their eyes. The former showed a sensitive and passive expression, while the latter showed an expression of enjoyment. At first glance, they are both pretty and slightly red, and there is not much difference, but if you look closely, you can find that the eyes are different. As a veteran driver, Zhao Yuchen is familiar with such differences and cannot be more familiar with them. Well, there are special chakra pouring into Nohara Lin's body constantly in Shanglin's body. The latter's skin condition, muscle vitality, hair color and complexion, everything in the body is recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. About 5 minutes later, Nohara Lin reluctantly moved her mouth, stood up and said thank you, thank you. After finishing speaking, she also took the initiative to use healing jutsu Sakagi to treat the bite on Shanglin's wrist, so that it can recover quickly and cannot become an imprint. It can be seen from this that Rin Nohara is a civilian ninja whose talent is not inferior to that of little Sakura. If she learns from Tsunade, she will also have some achievements. "Thank you, sister." Shanglin smiled sweetly at Nohara Lin. She then took out a handkerchief from her sleeve, and gently wiped off the stains and bloodline on Nohara Rin's chest. It wasn't until this time that Nohara Lin remembered her current situation and instinctively looked at Zhao Yuchen. When she found out that the other party had been facing her all the time, her newly rejuvenated heart almost jumped into her throat, her legs softened, her head became hot, and she almost fainted. But rationality made her resist these abnormalities, and turned to Shanglin and said, "Excuse me, can you lend me a suitable set of clothes to change into?" Hearing this, Shanglin didn't answer immediately, but looked at Yu Chen instead. As a 100% caring little padded jacket, Shanglin only cares if Yu Chen is unhappy. "Take the guest to the hot spring pool for cleaning, and I'm preparing a few sets of clothes that fit her," Zhao Yuchen instructed. It's not that he has never seen a woman, nor is it that he can't walk when he sees a woman. Some appreciate his generosity, but it doesn't have to be so wretched. What's more, Nohara Lin is a girl, and in his eyes, she is just shout-outing. "Sister, please follow me." Shang Lin signaled Nohara Lin to follow her. Jusheng Naomi took the initiative to say, "I will go with Lin, I want to talk to her." Zhao Yuchen naturally nodded, expressing that he had no opinion. After she left, Yuchen formed a shadow clone. "You should understand what I mean," Yuchen asked. "Of course." Shadow clone Yuchen clasped his hands together and turned on sage mode. The deity runs chakra and uses kamui through the eye of the eye. The space is distorted, the shadow clone keeps disappearing, and is teleported into a different space. Zhao Yuchen put his hands behind his back and waited quietly. About 5 minutes later, he uses Kamui again. When Space Uzumaki appeared, a few breaths later many chakra returned, with most of the memories. He's back. Zhao Yuchen raised his eyebrows. He let Shadow clone into the Kamui space as a surprise for Uchiha Obito. According to his calculations, when his Shadow clone can use Sage Mode and Flying Thunder God technique, it is easy to persist for 5 minutes. After learning about Obito's situation, he is ready to join hands with Senju Tobirama to get rid of this guy completely. But he didn't expect that Shadow clone would be released by itself. Is there any important information that must be grasped by ontology as soon as possible? While thinking about it, the contents of the memory quickly flashed through his mind. Uchiha Obito is not in the Kamui space. Zhao Yuchen was slightly surprised, and then suddenly understood. Uchiha Obito is not there. Shadow clone has nothing to do after placing a lot of Flying Thunder God imprints, so naturally he comes back directly. Yeah, he should be getting used to the newly transplanted Rinnegan by now, and the awakened Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan through Fugaku's right eye, which Kamui can't use. Not in the Kamui space. I must have found a place with strong secrecy to hide. Then where can the giant Tensigan not be found? Zhao Yuchen fell into deep thought. In the ninja world, there are not many places like this, but there are not many places. For example, the 3 great holy lands, the temples of the 5 great nations, and some clan lands that used to be rich, all have very powerful barriers. There is a high probability that these enchantments cannot stop Tensigan, but it is not difficult to avoid being spied on by the giant Tensigan on the moon. It seems that in a short time, there is no way to solve the Belt King. Zhao Yuchen had no choice but to give up, but he was not depressed either. The longer the time dragged on, the greater his advantage would be. When Uchiha Obito reappears, maybe he has awakened Tensigan. At that time, the evil Uchiha will realize the evil of society. At the same time, in the courtyard of a mansion of the Senju clan, Tsunade, Terumi Mei, Samui Hakura are playing cards. Tamari is standing behind Hakura, Kuroto is behind Terumi Mei, Wooden Golem is behind Samui, and Shizune is naturally behind Tsunade. Suddenly, Wooden Golem asks Tsunade, Tsunade, when are you going to attack Yuchen? Xiao Wang, big hand. Tsunade threw a card casually, and then said, how can I attack Yuchen? Of course I have to wait for him to pursue me, I am Princess Tsunade. What do old cows eat? Tender grass. If tender grass must be eaten by old cows, it is not unacceptable, right? But asking her to take this step by herself always feels awkward. It's not the same as women chasing men. If Tsunade was 20 years younger, he would really dare to be domineering to Yuchen once. But the age gap made Tsunade hesitate to move forward, or she had a kind of inferiority deep in her heart, fearing that Yuchen would not like her or dislike her, so she needed Yuchen to give her a signal first. As for the wives that Yuchen called in the diary, in her opinion, they cannot be counted. 4 twos. There are 3 more. Terumi Mei played a hand of cards, which meant that Wei Suan wanted to charge. Tsunade-ji, if you want me to say that you are too timid, can't you go directly? Then are you okay? Tsunade would choke a sentence. Of course I would. Terumi Mei nodded, and then said, but in Konoha, I, a foreign guest, can't walk in front of you, right? Excuse. Yi Kang gestured, and said lightly, you two just feel that you are too old to dare. Hey, you are not younger than Yuchen, how dare you? Samuel also gestured, with scrutiny in his eyes. Of course I dare, but I'm not suitable now. Yi Kang brushed his long hair, sat up straight to show his figure, and said with a smile, my body is a body of dirt, which is made of dirt wrapped in white zetsu. The soul controls Yang. What do you think will happen when I go to Yuchen like this? Of course, the result is that you don't even have the chance to go to the Pure Land, and you will be saved directly. The girls secretly thought in their hearts that it was also a reason to recognize Yi. Yuchen is a person who cares about details. So, are you going to go after you're fully revived? Wooden Golem asked curiously. Necessary. Yi Kang said with a smile. I have a dirty body, and he values me so much. After I am resurrected, the grace of saving my life can only be promised with his body. Hearing this, the women were noncommittal. Tsunade played 5 cards, raised 2 cards in his hand and said, there are 2 more cards, if I can't suppress it, I will win. As a landlord, it seems that the situation is in her hands. Promise me with my body, and I want to make a promise with my body. Terumi Mei signaled, and then said, the concept of world government is good, In the future, we will not have to worry about politics and other things, and we can be relieved. Being the wife of the richest man next to Yu Chen, the wife of the strongest man, wouldn't that be great? It's just that we, the country of water, are separated from the mainland, and we don't know what it will develop into. Hearing this, Samuel said without changing his face, I saw you kissing Yu Chen last night, you can just ask him about this. Swish. Immediately, everyone cast admiring glances at Terumi Mei. This sister really dares to rush, not just a simple hilarity. From this point of view, Tsunade is really weak, and he dare not give it a go because of love. Surely not. Terumi Mei shook her head and said, I found Yu Chen because I like it myself. If you bring the matter of the Kingdom of Water, will it make him feel that I am approaching with a purpose? I can dedicate my strength to the country of water and Kirigakure, but it must be on the basis of not affecting the man Yu Chen and his relationship. This man has tasted my passion. Terumi Mei didn't feel the embarrassment of being exposed at all, but dealt with it calmly. I've heard about the arrangements in the land of water, Tsunade said, his eyes swept over Samuel and Yi Kang. I don't have a card. Yi Kang signaled. Samui also signaled. Tsunade grinned, threw a 2, and said, there's one last card. 2. I don't have one. Terumi Mei frustratedly put 3 cards on the table. Seeing this, Haitu instinctively stretched out his hand and scratched his head, doubts flashed in his eyes, but he didn't talk nonsense. Both Yi Kang and Samuel said they had no cards. Tsunade threw out a 3 and said with a smile, give me money, give me money. Tsunade began to enjoy the joy of winning money. Seeing that the weight in her hand increased, she was in a good mood, and said to Terumi Mei, Yu Chen told my grandfather and second grandfather that they are going to build a direct track and a bridge across the sea. It is said that there will be some maglev trains on it, and Kirigakure will arrive later. Konoha village only takes half a day to reach the sky. Whether it is trade, tourism, or immigration, it will become very easy. Tsunade is telling the truth. Yu Chen did talk to Senju Tobarama and Senju Hashirama about this matter. The two are now in Impure World reincarnation status and will not feel comparable in chakra as endless. Senju Hashirama's wood style and Senju Tobarama's sea dune are all levels that can change the landscape. Especially at sea, Senju Tobarama could be stronger. If it is up to them, it is not difficult to build a direct route to Kirigakure, and there is still labor and time left. Maglev train. Terumi Mei memorized this word silently, and prepared to ask Yu Chen when the time was right, preferably to experience it. The method of experience is also very simple, just ask Yu Chen to send Tsukuyomi to himself. That is to say, she can't spiritualize technique, otherwise she will definitely take the initiative to prevent Yu Chen from spending a little energy. It turns out that this is called playing cards, but it's actually a game of sophistication? Seeing that Terumi Mei got the answer to her heart's content, and the cost was only a few thousand taels of silver, Haitu said that she had learned it. Just now she noticed that Terumi Mei still has a Xiao Wang in her hand, obviously she didn't hit it on purpose. The purpose is to make Tsunade happy and to solve her doubts. And Yi Kang and Samui probably knew about it, so they would cooperate again. Even Tsunade himself probably knew, but accepted it with ease. This is a confrontation outside the game. Speaking of which, where do you think the world government will be built? Samui asked suddenly. Is there a need to ask? Tsunade shuffled the cards and said, I analyzed it in the group chat last time, and there is no more suitable place in the entire ninja world than Konoha. Hearing this, Samui shook his head. Before today, I also agreed with your statement. But right now, I think it's probably useless for Chen to choose Mojang. As soon as this statement was made, all the women present cast curious glances. What do you say? Tsunade's face turned serious, and he didn't even shuffle the cards. As long as you are not stupid, you can imagine what the status of the world government will be in the ninja world in the future. Even what they can think of must be only a small part of the true state of world government. Where the world government building is located, it will also become the center of the ninja world. If it is not Konoha, it will have an impact on Konoha. And what better place than Konoha? It can't be the moon, can it? Samui took a sip from the teacup, and then asked, Tsunade, do you still remember what he said when you asked Yu Chen how to build the world government? It is said that he has already started to do it, Tsunade replied without thinking. But what did he do in Konoha? Samui asked. This doesn't explain the problem. Tsunade said sternly. At least the people from the Akatsuki organization, as well as this, are still in Konoha, aren't they? If Yu Chen wants to build a world government, it's impossible not to use our own people. I think what he said has already started. It should refer to the plan, the servant of site selection. We will definitely be used when construction starts officially. Tsunade is confident in his judgment. Samuel looked at her, and suddenly said, "Did you forget that there is a force that has not come to Konoha until now? It's not compared to high-end combat power, but only compared to the number of people and influence. That force is bigger than the Shao organization." Hearing this, the girls were startled. Randomly, Anko, who was eating meatballs, said, "You mean, Tianjiguo, the first ninja village?" The forces of Orochimaru. At the same time, Tianguoyan Renmin village, an office in the underground base. Yu Chen's figure suddenly appeared. With a glance, he saw two graceful women discussing something at the table. He stepped forward and took the two women into his arms. "You have worked so hard, do you need me to help you?" Boom. In Tianji country, Yinan village, and the office of the underground base, murderous intentions abound. Zhao Yu Chen appeared quietly, and Gurren and Taiyu, who were seriously discussing things at the desk, didn't notice at all. So when someone put their hands on their hands, the two looked at each other and launched an attack directly and tacitly. Red Lotus is the owner of the crystal-style blood succession boundary, and can perform the secret technique of crystallizing everything, provided that chakra is enough. She shot directly, crystallizing everything around her. The bodies of the three were crystallized, fixed in place and unable to move. If you look at it under the sun, you can see the beautiful crystal sculpture, in which the body is completely imprisoned. As long as Honglian snaps her fingers, the things in it can be shattered together with the crystal carving. But who is Zhao Yu Chen? He has the Otsutsuki constitution developed to the top level, and the white eyes that are about to transform into Tensigan. How could Gurren's crystal style be hidden from him? Broken. Zhao Yu Chen snapped his fingers. Gurren and Tayuya were the ones who really shattered. How is it possible? Honglian's face showed panic. How can her power be released to be used by the opponent? It's an illusion. Taiyu is also worthy of being a special Jonin who is good at sound ninjutsu and illusion. The combat power under the spell seal can directly catch up with elite Jonin, which is quite impressive. When the clothes on her body were all torn, she judged that the current situation was not real. To be precise, she had some understanding of Honglian's strength. Crystal style is not a ninjutsu that can be forcibly controlled. If this happens, it means that it is imaginary and illusion. Change me. Gurren used crystal style to remove the body surface defenses of the two, and now they are facing the enemy directly. Now it is her turn to turn the tide. With a wave of his hand, Tayuya took out a flute and put it near his mouth. Red's long hair fluttered freely, adding a special charm to her. The breath blows, carries chakra, operates in a special way, and sends out extremely stylish tunes. Magic flute, magic soundlock. This is a B-level sound illusion that Duo Yu is very good at. It can use the sound of the flute to pull the opponent into a virtual battle environment. Countless silk threads appear to bind the opponent's body, and then do whatever they want. And in the opponent's illusion space, this can also be used as a countermeasure to directly engage in spiritual confrontation. Shua. Numerous silk threads appeared, enveloping Yu Chen's body. These threads are strengthened with the influx of chakra, the throbbing of straight rhythm. Zhao Yu Chen's body seemed to be imprisoned, and he became a fish on the chopping board, ready to be slaughtered. But in fact, in front of his heavenly eyes, this event is nothing more than an illusion, even just a music performance. Tayuya is really good at playing the flute. The sound of the flute is also very nice. Zhao Yu Chen showed an expression of enjoyment. The sound of the flute is nice, but he actually prefers to hear the sound of Shao. That kind of free, uninhibited, casual feeling will give people a feeling of sublimation of the soul. And when Tayuya was playing, without her knowing it, the flute had become a long flute. Playing the flute also becomes a flute, bringing sublimated power zones in this illusion space. But Yu Chen didn't just listen to the wonderful music, but looked at Honglian. Duoyo was also trapped by his illusion and immersed himself in blowjob. It is no longer justified that he will be trapped in it before he gets tired or loses his combat power. On the other hand, Red Lotus, as the owner of the blood succession limit, can still be favored by Orochimaru as the existence of the turning container, and all aspects should not be underestimated. Zhao Yu Chen looked at her with admiring eyes. The surface of the fair skin seems to be coated with a layer of special crystals, which will scatter in all directions under the light, which can also be said to be so white and luminous. The flaming lips are hot, but anyone who is indulging in them should be prepared to be turned into powder by crystal style. Tayuya. Tayuya. The bystanders knew that Gurren noticed something was wrong with Tayuya, and immediately wanted to wake her up. But just as she was about to make a move, she felt a dangerous gaze. She understood that it was the gaze of Yu Chen's eyebrows and heavenly eyes, which was stronger than the white eyes of Sharingan. Among them, Mangekyo Sharingan has several types of pupil techniques, which are not something she can resist at all. Tayuya blows the flute. I can't just watch and do something now. With a flash in her eyes, Honglian rationally felt that she should use her best means. Crystal style. Broken crystal dragon subduing technique. Honglian made a seal with her hands, crystallized some surrounding objects and condensed them into a long dragon, then jumped to the top and swooped down Zhao Yuchen. Her idea is very simple. Tayuya will attack from the bottom lane, then she will attack from the top lane. Going up and down all the way, Yu Chen can show his flaws when he is tired of coping. But obviously, she seriously underestimated Zhao Yuchen's strength. Facing the ice crystal of the long dragon, Yu Chen only had admiration in his eyes, and even reminiscence. The last time I dealt with such an attack in such an environment at the same time was in my previous life. At that time, I played with a certain secret and hot guy in an office of thousands of stories rich. Honglian is obviously not good at teaming up with others to fight against the enemy, because she has always relied on herself, so her movements are jerky. However, as the owner of the blood succession limit, she has outstanding talent, and her crystal style is strong enough, and her power is astonishing. Zhao Yuchen formed a seal with one hand and used the lamp to resist the attack of crystal style. The steam and crystals collide and dissipate instantly. Zhao Yuchen felt a kind of frosted feeling all over his body, and it seemed like an electric current was flowing through his whole body. Unlike Tayuya's targeted attack, Gurren's attack is more comprehensive. But obviously, this is nothing in front of Yu Chen. He directly turned on Sage mode, and chakra flowed all over his body, shielding this feeling. Seeing this, Hong Lian made another seal, Crystal Wall 8 formation. This is a fairly advanced number of people, and it takes a lot of time to complete the printing. The crystallized crystals can even seal 3 tails in a short time. Using such ninjutsu on Yu Chen, Gurren obviously used all his strength. Chakra used it wildly, and the crystals formed an enchantment. Zhao Yuchen was not careless either, imitating Honglian's appearance and using light escape to form an enchantment. Escape and escape confront each other, chakra and chakra confront each other, and even Ueda confronts will. In such a confrontation, Duo Yu also broke free from his thoughts, accelerated his flute, strengthened his illusion attack on Yu Chen, and accelerated Yu Chen's chakra consumption. Do you two provoke me so much because you think I will only be passive defensive? Zhao Yuchen flicked his neck and straight out his tail. Boom. The radiance is radiant, the crystal style is broken, and the red lotus is like Thumbelina. Yu Chen can control it with his hands, because he can finish her with his fingers. As a master of sound illusion, Tayuya felt that playing and performing could be so exhausting for the first time. You guys are still too weak. As my spokesperson in Yinren village, if I can't even support 10% of my strength, it won't be enough to suppress everyone and make them obedient. As the owners of the blood succession limit and the owner of the seal of the mantra, you are extremely sensitive to natural energy, and you must be very talented in practicing sage mode. Then let me give you some pointers. Yu Chen took out the yin and yang escapism practice sage mode learned from Makoto, and taught Tayuya and Gurren. A duel suddenly turned into a guide. No way, the difference in strength is too great. After several hours, this lesson is over. Zhao Yuchen put his own chakra into the 2 women to complete the final guidance and help them better master sage mode. After doing all this, both women collapsed on the sofa exhausted. Yu Chen healed them with light escape medical ninjutsu, and then walked to the desk. Hey, so much progress has been completed. Yu Chen cast a satisfied look at the 2 women. But after the 2 women felt it, they both shuddered and shouted, "We don't need to reward." Zhao Yuchen. Gurren and Tayuya, blue and red, have disheveled hair, like 2 peeled apples, making people want to take a bite. At the same time, they are like 2 foxes who have just finished a race, lying softly on the sofa. Their complexions are unusually flushed, and their postures are lazy and charming. The 2 women looked at each other with a trace of fear and a strange joy. The fear is the fear of Yu Chen's strength. Fortunately, as secretaries, they only need to work at specific times. Seeing the fearful expressions of the 2 women, Yu Chen raised his eyebrows slightly, and said with a light smile, "I wanted to say that I would cook for you personally, but I didn't expect you to be so considerate to me." Hearing this, Duo Yu didn't feel much, and even wanted to refuse immediately. Just kidding. As a woman, she doesn't stick to the spring water, and she doesn't have any talent in cooking. Can the food cooked by men be eaten? Cooking, Honglian's heart moved, and unlike Duo Yu, she really wanted to agree. Because she has seen Yu Chen's confidence in her cooking skills in the diary copy more than once, and many women who seem to have a copy of the diary can't stop Yu Chen's cooking skills. Just now she tried her best to let Yu Chen taste her delicious food, so now it's okay to want to taste Yu Chen's handicraft. But she just thought about it. B0 did not express this expectation. Because she remembered that only by not being discovered by Yu Chen and having a copy of the diary, can she get a reward every 10 days, and today is the first 10 days. Yu Chen is so smart, if she behaves too strangely, she will definitely be seen through. Wouldn't all previous efforts be wasted? Speaking of it, she is also a superficial woman. She doesn't say anything to Yu Chen when she sees and loves hug, but don't pursue anything. Anyway, it is also an existence that can fight against cage-level masters, which is a shame. Fortunately, Yu Chen is not a ruthless person. On the contrary, he has a lot of trust in her and Tayuya, and gives ninjutsu, secrets, rights, money and everything. She now has a feeling in her heart, the first half of my life was in vain. As a woman, it is only now that I experience true happiness. Far away. In short, Honglian thought very much, but her expression pretended to be hesitant. Let's forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Duo Yu also quickly echoed. I want to sleep now, and I don't have the energy to eat at all. I'll talk about it when I wake up. Are you sure? Zhao Yu Chen asked. Anyway, I'm going to sleep. Duo Yu lay down on his side without hesitation. The graceful figure should not be used by anyone, but unfortunately Yu Chen is covered with a white cloth, so he can't see it. Master Yu Chen, do you really want to cook for us? Gurren asked, pretending to be hesitant. An expression that I don't want to eat, but if you want to do it, I will definitely eat it. So, women are born actors. At least if you don't use your perception, Yu Chen can't see Gurren's true intentions. Gurren. Tayuya turned around and pulled Hongren into his arms, angrily said, It seems that I don't listen to Master Yu Chen enough if I don't take you like this. I didn't mean that. Gurren broke free from Tayuya's chest blow, waved her hand and said, If Master Yu Chen is willing to cook, I can seal it up with crystal style and share it with you when the time comes, right? Really? Tayuya snorted softly, We are secretary sisters, so don't try to sneak away. No, don't worry. Honglian smiled lightly and shook her head. She wasn't afraid of Tayuya at all. Not only because she doesn't seem very intelligent, but also because Tayuya doesn't have a copy of the diary, and she is not the same person as her, and has no core competitiveness. Not to mention there are big mountains, like Tsunade, Samui, Kukina and Makoto standing in the way. How stupid is she to fight with Tayuya? What's more, with Yu Chen's strength, she alone cannot be an opponent. I want to eat too. If Master Yu Chen is willing, please, please. Tayuya put the flute on his chest, making a pleading expression. Cute with a temptation to commit crimes. Unfortunately, Yu Chen is unseen now. You guys rest first, when the food comes, I will wake you up. Zhao Yu Chen signaled the two women to rest, then cast Flying Thunder God and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already standing on top of a towering 11-story building directly above the underground base. This building has only 11 floors now, and if combined with the 4 underground floors, it will have 15 floors, but it is still not the end. According to Zhao Yu Chen's plan, he intends to build an 81-story building as the headquarters building of the future world government. As for how to use each floor, he also has a detailed plan. It is reasonable to say that the forging of this building cannot be successful within a few years. But in this world with ninjutsu and extraordinary power, it is not so difficult. In particular, the crystal style of Red Lotus, combined with cement and steel bars, has a better effect than Senju Hashirama wood style for building houses. The crystal style of Honglian can theoretically crystallize all the substances around it. Generally, after crystallization, it will turn red, and it will condense into various forms. It can become 5,000 that is harder than metal. Items ride on, and after crystallizing people, they can be broken like glass, and finally turned into powder. However, crystal style cannot crystallize chakra. And this crystal style has a variety of powerful effects in the basic situation. For example, crystal style 8 trigrams octagonal array technique, the caster first implants the seeds of octagonal emerald crystals in the ground, and then can use the crystal ball outside the array to observe the movement of the enemy. On the basis of the 8 trigrams in all directions, a large enchantment with a diameter of 1 kilometer can be formed around the boundary to trap enemies, and even the ability of white eyes will be blocked. In other words, building a house with crystal style is not only indestructible, but also avoids most detection and perception, allowing people to not know what is happening in the building. The building itself is willing to be enchanted. If you can add Shanshu, it will definitely be stronger. So I have to teach Gurren Sage Mode, and the crystallization can add my chakra so no one else can. At that time, the crystallization can also become an internal infinite network under the control of Tensigen. Many modern technologies can be resurrected in my hands first. Crystal style has many functions. For example, it can form a large mirror, and this mirror is a necessary step before crystal style crystallization, but it can also be used to cast a telescope. Technique. That is to say, using crystal style Kaukei to revive the internal video network directly, it can also have the effect of surveillance cameras. As for the hardness of the crystal style, 3 years after the original trajectory, Gurren cast the Crystal Wall 8 formation to temporarily seal 3 tails. Casting a ray of light from crystal style, the body is surrounded by large crystals, which even 3 tails tail beast cannon failed to break, and even launched a laser counterattack in the middle. Crystal style is probably the hardest defense in the ninja world, and it can also have its own defense system. If you add Shienju and 6 Paths enchantment, it may take a lot of 10 tails tailed beast bomb to destroy the building. That is to say, I haven't mastered the crystal style blood succession limit, otherwise I must use it to mass produce buildings. However, with Red Lotus, it is enough for the time being, and technology will bring shocking innovations to people in the ninja world. Zhao Yuchen constantly revises and improves the plan, and memorizes it in the diary. I have said long ago that if there is something to do, the secretary will do it, but if there is nothing to do. Tsunade didn't understand this essential point, so I had to carry forward Guangle myself. Red Lotus, the owner of Crystal Style Blood Succession Limit, if he can master Sage Mode, his combat power may be higher than Senju Hashirama in a short period of time, my favorite left hand. Tayuya, a master of sound illusion who can play music, can give me relaxation and pleasure, is my dear right hand. With the help of my left and right hands, the construction of the 81-story world government building has started in an orderly manner, and it is estimated that it will be completed within 2 months. At that time, I can upgrade the building in all aspects through crystal style. Functionality, defense, attack means, comprehensive and powerful. Happy. Seeing this message, the expressions of the women holding diaries became very subtle. Is it true that domestic flowers are not as fragrant as wild flowers? There are so many women in Konoha village, and Yuchen still goes outside to develop. It must not be easy for Gurren and Tayuya to obtain such a high barrier as Yuchen and become a secretary. Of course, Gang Nan was the one who reacted the most among the girls. The world government is actually not built in Konoha. This guy forced me to use a beauty trap. Although Zhao Yuchen hasn't said it clearly, Tsunade is not stupid, and can judge that the world government didn't build Konoha, and it wasn't even around Konoha. She has never seen Tayuya and Gurren, and she has never seen any buildings built with crystal-style blessings. Obviously, Zhao Yuchen chose a new location. This made her very uncomfortable. On the one hand, it was because he wanted Konoha to benefit, and on the other hand, he felt that he was being slapped in the face. She hadn't forgotten how she had spent all this time in the group chat, how she had put on the face of a winner. The girls couldn't keep their mouths open, and even thought that the girls of Samuel were deliberately throwing water when they were playing cards with her, but they must be very angry in their hearts, and they were just holding back. In this way, I am afraid that I will be ridiculed to death. Samui. I seem to have heard the name of Tayuya somewhere, but I can't remember it for a while. Yi Kang. I know that Bekan is the third of the 4 Atonin. Anko. Speaking of this, I also remembered that, like me, Orochimaru planted a curse mark, so that I can use the power of the fairy art chakra. Terumi Mei. I also remember this Red Lotus. Yuchen mentioned it in his diary. It seems to be adopted by Orochimaru during the war, and it is one of the living corpse reincarnation's container candidates. Samui. So, the place Yuchen chose as the core office area of the world government is the area selected by Orochimaru in Atonin village in Tanokuni? Tsunade. The intention is sinister. Tsunade growled inwardly. Samuel was sitting on her left-hand side, and there were quite a few people present. Why not ask directly, but in the group? It was obvious that he wanted to embarrass her. By wooden golem. I'm curious why Sora didn't choose Konoha to build the core area of world government. Tsunade. I don't think you need to be so curious about everything. Black soil. But this matter is very important, I think we must be curious. Terumi May. Yes, let's make a reasonable analysis. What are the advantages of Shonen Village? Tamari. In terms of scope, it must be my land of the wind, a large piece of barren land, and it is so cheap, he can build cities as he wants, and he can even rely on the relics that have Greer ore, isn't it? Terumi May. In terms of external expansion and the construction of various bases with strong secrecy, it must be our country of water, and we can even launch explorations in countries of the sea and even further continents. Samui. If you want to talk about mine resources, power resources, and domestic attitudes towards daimyo and nobles, and the ease with which government orders are implemented, why not choose our country of thunder? Black soil. Our country of soil. Forget it. The overall conditions of land of earth seem to be better than that of land of wind, but now they can't make a move. Tsunade. But all these add up, it seems that I am not as powerful as my country of fire, so what is Yu Chen thinking? Could it be blown away by some pillow wind? Kyuko Nai. Although I belong to the Uzumaki family, and my hometown is Uzumaki country and Uzushio hidden village, it doesn't mean I don't recognize Konoha as my second hometown. Well, I'm still here. Makoto. Although my Uchiha clan was wiped out by Konoha's high-ranking officials in Uchiha Itachi, who brought a filial son, I also recognize Konoha's hometown, okay? Karama Yakumo. Although I have misunderstood Konoha, but as the newly succeeded patriarch of the Karama clan, 80% of the Karama clan's property is in Konoha, can I not be inclined to this? Anko. Although I used to be a disciple of Orochimaru, my position is fine. Yu Rihong. The will of fire, understand? Azuki Shion. Master Tsunade. Do you think the weight of the six of us is not enough? Hinata. Yu Chen big brother, but with my long hair reaching my waist. Ino. Yu Chen big brother and I are in the relationship of exchanging love flowers. Tien. I was sent by Yu Chen big brother as an organ beast. Tsunade. Tsunade never thought that his own casual words would set his own yard on fire first. But looking at it this way, Yu Chen must have considered comprehensively when he chose TNG Guoyan Ninja Village. Otherwise, even if it is for his natal family with so many women, he has to choose Konoha. So this Konoha, how is it different from TNG Guoyan Ninja Village? All the girls were puzzled for a moment, but they were quickly answered. I hesitated for a while about the choice of world government's resident, and finally chose Tanokuni Otoshi Village. Site selection. If you consider the shortcomings, the country of wind lacks water, the wind and sand are strong, and the air quality is not good. The country of rain rains all the year round, and the land is muddy. There are many, inconvenient transportation. The climate of the land of thunder is changeable. The land of water is too humid and the weapons are too heavy. The land of fire is noble. The internal composition of the temple of fire, Konoha, is too complicated, and the land of fields, the land of grass waiting for a few neutral countries, there is no such problem. Women. Good guy, we are thinking about the advantages, you point out the disadvantages directly, do you still want to play? If we talk about benefits, it is natural that every country has benefits, but they cannot compare with TN country. In terms of climate, TNG country is like spring all year round, with fresh air, suitable for living, and developed agriculture, which is suitable for me to cultivate crops and improve the quality of life. In terms of geographical advantages, the country of Tien is a neutral country, directly bordering the country of fire, so it is convenient to communicate with Konoha and infiltrate the country of fire, and between the country of earth and the country of thunder, there are two small countries as strategic buffers, and adjacent to the snow country, it is convenient to go to the lunar space, and the north is the sea, so ports can be built to facilitate trade, and marines and air forces can also be stationed outside. From the map, Yin'an village is the real center of the mainland. As long as a new railway is built, direct railway tracks can be built to Cloud Shinobi village, Yanying village, Konoha village, Kirigakure and Sand Hidden village, connecting the 5 hidden villages. Samui. By Wooden Golem, Tamari, Terumi May. Sure enough, it was not unreasonable for Mr. Fire Country to be beaten and robbed. But Tien Zhiguo's ability to make a lot of money in a muffled voice is very good. In terms of politics, Tien Zhiguo goes up to the daimyo, the middle class to the nobles and ninjas, and down to the common people, all of which are under the control of Orochimaru, either openly or covertly. My apprentice, do not hinder my government. Tamari. I'm sorry, I forgot this one, no matter how cheap it is, there is no free one, and the environment of the land of winds is completely incomparable with that of the land of fields. Samui. I am superficial, Cloud Shinobi Village is strong. But for now, the supreme leader recognized by nobles and civilians is still daimyo. Cloud Shinobi Village is just a military institution and belongs to the country. And Tian Zhiguo is already Yu Chen's voice. How to choose is really not difficult at all. In terms of military affairs, in the future, sea, land and air can be owned, and then the marine will be developed in the direction of the country of water, which is suitable as a marine base. Terumi Mei. Well, I am so ambitious. In short, TNG Guoyan Ninja Village has many benefits. I hesitate because most of my women are Konoha people, and there will be more in the future. But this is what finally made me make up my mind. They have a lot of people. If I build the world government in Konoha, how much influence will the family behind them have? Is this world government led by me and belongs to the world government of all ninja people, or is it a ninja government that seems to be led by me but is actually controlled by Konoha? At that time, some interests may cause my women to have conflicts, and even have gaps with me. I must consider them for them. Choosing Tian Zhiguo is fair to every woman and fair to every country. How to fight for power and profit internally, each depends on its own ability, but at least for the Quanon world. Peace. It turns out he was thinking so long. At this moment, all the women holding copies of the diary felt was very moved. This man thinks of them when he thinks about the world. Just love it to death. Tianjiguo is Tianjiguo. I, Konoha, will definitely support it, Tsunade said with a serious expression. At this moment, she is the 5th Hokage, and can represent both a generation and a second generation. I'm from the Pommel horse family, so I don't have any objections, Pommel Belair said flatly. At the same time, Hinata, Ino, and Shendu became serious. Yu Chen has considered this level for them, and they have to do something. All of a sudden, Jongan took action one after another. On the other side, Yu Chen stretched himself after finishing writing the diary, and then found a place to cook some dishes for Guren and Tayuya to send. After eating and drinking, she went to sleep with the 2 girls in her arms. Waited until the wee hours of the morning. New day, diary rewards will be issued. Reward 1. 3-card chuck, continuous diary for 30 days, the reward will be upgraded. Reward 2. Randomly selected as the immortal talisman, one-time, person. Reward 3. Continuous diary writing for 30 days critical strike reward, randomly selected as divine clairvoyance. After receiving these 3 days of information, Yu Chen's breath became stagnant. It's clairvoyance. If it comes to animation, then the ceiling of combat power is definitely a crucial setting, which can represent the peak performance level of later battles. Often, the stronger the combat power ceiling, the stronger the character's later stage strength. On the contrary, there is no way to extend the plot. For example, Yu Chen's previous life was called Dead Fire Sea. However, as the combat power of the Hokage world continued to increase, the low-level performance of animation, special effects, was definitely the ceiling of the combat power of the 3 worlds. Originally in Hokage, this ceiling is Kagayaheim. Even if she is just a branch house member, it is reliable that the fruit of this sacred tree, strength is already in Otsutsuki 10 style or Otsutsuki Peach style is right. But now, as Yu Chen pointed out, leaving aside the god of Otsutsuki who only stays on the lips of many people, then the ceiling of combat power must be Otsutsuki Yagi, and it is well deserved. He spent thousands of years devouring the fruits of the sacred trees of various planets, and then relied on the power of Wedge to reincarnate continuously, and finally reached the realm of gods. Wedge not only can reincarnate Otsutsuki, but also has the ability to absorb ninjutsu, release chakra attacks, create portals and other abilities. It is derived from Otsutsuki Yami. The lesser name Vaguna, which can shrink any inanimate object or shrink and restore itself, is derived from Otsutsuki Yamu. Daikokaten, a person who can shrink items and put them in a different space, is simply a must-have magic skill for traveling at home, killing people and stealing goods, and it is also one of Otsutsuki Yamo's magic skills. Clairvoyance, on the other hand, can not only see things at a very long distance, but if it is powerful enough, it can even spy on the long river of time and see what happened in the past. Capture the intelligence you want. It doesn't matter where or to whom these things happen. Receive. Without hesitation, Kyuchin received clairvoyance directly. In the next moment, countless messages appeared in his mind, telling him how to perform the magic of clairvoyance. Sure enough, the power of this magic is related to chakra. After digesting all the information, a look of enlightenment appeared in Zhao Chen's eyes. With his current strength, he can only spy on the situation within 100 miles of Fang Yuan, and he also needs to know the chakra fluctuations of the other party to carry out precise positioning and spying. If you don't know the changes of chakra, you can only look wherever you want within the range of perception. With clairvoyance, it is from radar to high-definition satellite positioning. Strong is also very strong. If you want to strengthen, continue to improve your strength. Fang Yuan is 100 miles away, that is, Fang Yuan is 50 kilometers away. Let me see, is there any chakra I know around here? Zhao Yuchen traveled thousands of miles to find Black Zetsu's chakra, but failed. As for looking for Black Zetsu, it is natural to find a bunch of them casually. Hey, King's chakra, he's actually here. Interesting. The corner of his mouth curled up, and without any hesitation, Yuchen cast Flying Thunder God and rushed in one direction. At the same time, the girls holding diaries are also waiting for today's reward. Reward 1. Increase your chakra by 1%. Winning list. XX, Green Lotus, Uzumaki Kashina, Tsunade, Hakura, Tamari Samujin. Reward 2. Randomly select one person, who has been mentioned more than 10 times and has watched the diary, to receive a random magic blessing. The drawing is successful, the winner is Shizune, and the magic blessing is the gaze of the goddess of death. The winner can talk to the Pure Land if he knows the nature of chakra. Reward 3. Obtain some kind of reward randomly, including but not limited to blood succession limit. Winner. XX, Red Lotus, Reward, 3 Tomo Sharingan, hidden. Seeing this message, the expressions of many women in the ninja world changed. Tsunade. What does XX mean? Shizune, Master Tsunade, this must mean confidentiality. Black Soil. Keep it secret? Can the winner also keep it secret? Hinata. It seems impossible. Ju Zuna. As someone who has won more than one award this time, let me tell you that there is no such thing. Terumi Mei. I remember that only the reward content can be kept secret, but the identity cannot be kept secret. Samui. Yes, the winners have always been the way for us to know the identity of the owner of the copy of the diary, and there has been no secrecy. By Wooden Golem. So what does this mean? Curious. Azuki Shion. The diary is protecting the owner of this copy, and there must be articles in it. Yi Kang. Interesting, is the situation different for both diary dungeon owners? Terumi Mei. Since you don't tell us, then we must let us find it ourselves. Wouldn't it be beneficial? Sam Yi. No, if there are benefits, the copy of the diary will clearly say, but your words remind me that it is very likely that the other party will not be discovered by us, and there will be benefits. Tsunade. How to say? Sam Yi, it's very simple. The copy of the diary will not do meaningless things. Obviously we can all know each other's identities directly, but now some people are treated specially, and there must be intentions. Kagaya. Good judgment, but this XX, I can actually record and list all the names mentioned by Yuchen in the diary, and I can know the answer directly after summarizing. Makoto. I'm afraid not. I found that there are XX in many places in the diary. I thought it was Yuchen hiding something. Now it seems that the diary deliberately did it. Karama Yakumo. And similar to Guren, to Yuya, Ying in their names, they are all written, but I don't think we can rule out doubts. Z Yuan. What exactly does the diary want to do, and why do you make such a judgment? Terumi Mei. Could it be that you want us to experience the feeling of Yuchen? It's really possible. Previously, they got to know Yuchen through the diary and learned some information. Now it is some unknown person who knows Yuchen, even them, through the diary. It's just that they don't know what these people are going to do, so their identities are protected by the diary. Things are getting more and more interesting. Land of Thunder, Cloud Shinobi Village. Seeing that the winner was XX, this time, Mabui couldn't help frowning. For a short time, I still can't vomit. The move of the diary is undoubtedly telling other diary dungeon owners that there are some dungeon owners whose identities are kept secret in the ninja world. If she runs to Konoha at this time, she will definitely be suspected, even if Samui and Wooden Golem testify. And with Samui's calm personality and Wooden Golem's curious personality, she is hard to hide. Then wait a few more 10 days. Perhaps, I can think of a way to go to Tien country in a reasonable way. Mabui activated his clever head. At the same time, Tien Guoyan endured in the village. Guren, who was rewarded, let out a long sigh of relief. She thought that she would be exposed because of the reward, but she didn't expect the diary to be so thoughtful. And she also found a situation, that is, when Yuchen mentions her in the diary, those who clearly identify her will be displayed, but if she is mentioned casually, it will be hidden. This is a smoke bomb that can help her. I have to find a way to go sleepy and vomit without being discovered. Yu Chen is too smart, I'm sure I won't be able to hide from him for a long time. Before that, take more benefits. At the same time, many women are responding. Zhao Yu Chen didn't know about all this. At this time, he appeared on top of a huge statue. Opposite this statue is another statue, and between the two statues is a river. This is the place where the fateful confrontation of the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura takes place in the Valley of the End. Although this place is within the territory of Fire Country, it is not far from Tien Country and Yinan Village. After using his clairvoyance, he successfully discovered that Dai Wang was hiding here. Obito, why don't you come out and greet your old friend? The Land of Fire, the Valley of the End. No one would have thought that there is a huge space under the two huge statues. The cunning rabbit has 3 caves, and even the rabbit knows that there cannot be only one family. Uchiha Madara, who claims to be a conspirator in the ninja world, naturally understands. In addition to an underground base between the Land of Rain and the Land of Grass, Uchiha Madara also asked the White Zetsu to build a secret base below a location that meant a lot to him this time, but he just didn't come. After Uchiha Madara's death, this place became the largest base of Uchiha Obito, because it was blessed with various enchantments by Uchiha Madara, and even blessed with Gedo statue. At the common 6 paths level, there is no power that can be found here through the barrier exploration. And Uchiha Obito came here specially to avoid Uzumaki Nagato. Behind him, there are nearly 100 pairs of 3 Tomo Sharingan that he collected on the night of genocide. Yu Chen. Uchiha Obito, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his left eye. A frightening light emerged from within the purple Rinnegan, and there was nothing that could be hidden in front of it. Sure enough, it's here. Obito took the Uchiha fan by his side with his left hand and stood up. He then raises his right hand and opens the palm to reveal a Mangekyo Sharingan. This eye, seeing the pattern, is exactly his own Kamui. Although there is an extra eye on his body, his state at this time is better than before. The right half of his body is made of Hashirama cells blessed by White Zetsu. It has the power of wood-style blood succession boundary, and has the yang attribute of chakra, and he himself has Uchiha blood, but he only opens Mangekyo Sharingan without the pupil technique, and there will be no burden. Although the left eye Rinnegan evolved from Uchiha Madara's eternal Mangekyo, it really controls the yin-yang escape technique, which is a high-level yin-yang force. The power of 2 Mangekyo Sharingan plus Senju Hashirama cells is just enough to carry. There is a delicate balance between the 3. If Uchiha Obito's right eye can evolve into eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, this balance will be more stable. To open the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the person who owns the Mangekyo Sharingan needs to transplant the Mangekyo Sharingan of other people. The closer the blood relationship, the higher the success rate. My blood relationship with Uchiha Fugaku is not close, and the success rate is not high. But with Rinnegan and wood-style blood succession limit suppression, I can force it. Only with the power of the eternal Mangekyo can I fully use the Rinnegan. Unfortunately, all this takes too long. A cold light flashed in Obito's Rinnegan. Yu Chen, indeed, was his confidant's serious problem before he created the perfect world. Swish. Space Uzumaki appears, and Obito returns to the Kamui space. His eyes swept over some corners, but he left without moving. When he reappeared, he was already in the Valley of the End, above the statue of Uchiha Madara. Come here alone, are you looking for death? Obito raised the Uchiha fan. Boom. A huge barrier suddenly rose around the Valley of the End, causing the earth to shake. The space is realized and restricted. Huh? This movement. In Konoha village, Senju Hashirama, who was sitting alone on the Hokage rock enjoying the late-night scenery of Konoha, changed his expression slightly, and turned his head to look in the direction of the Valley of the End. Behind him, also without rest, Uzumaki Nagato, who was flipping through, instinctively covered his left eye, and a picture was shared in his mind. Zhao Yu Chen stands on the huge statue of Senju Hashirama, with a white cloth covering his eyes, and the lines between his eyebrows give people a sense of noble oppression. It's Uchiha Obito. Uzumaki Nagato's icy voice came out of his teeth. Uchiha Obito and brother-in-law face off in the Valley of the End. I saw the enchantment of 6 red yang and 5 elements arranged in advance. The space was imprisoned, and Ja Ang couldn't leave there. So Uchiha Obito is ambushing my brother-in-law. There was a hint of eagerness in his voice. He who owns Rinnegan knows how powerful that power is. He dared to call himself a god, not because of his conceit and superciliousness, but because of his own ability and strength. And Uchiha Obito now not only has the same power as him, but also the power of Mangekyo Sharingan, the power of wood-style blood succession limit, and Black Zetsu as a helper. He calculated the layout in advance, and also restricted the situation where Yuchen happened, so it was hard to say what the result would be. What did you say? Countless pieces of paper flew over, condensing into the appearance of Konan. When she thought about it, her cold, noble and glamorous face showed panic. Go to the Valley of the End. Nagato said anxiously. Uchiha Obito must have come prepared to plot against my brother-in-law. Let's go help, or I'm afraid he's in danger. Then leave immediately. Konan made a decisive decision. At the same time, of course, she did not forget to mention a point in her diary. Konan. At all members, Nagato sensed Rinnegan's shared sight, suspected that Uchiha Obito was plotting against Yuchen, and the two were fighting in the Valley of the End. Hinata. What? What happened? How could Yuchen big brother be calculated? Samui. Are you kidding me? Uchiha Obito can count on Yuchen? Terumi Mei. That's the man I'm looking for, Count Uchiha Obito, right? By Wooden Golem. How could Uzumaki Nagato have such a judgment? Xianglin. Don't talk about it, let Sister Nan explain. When Konan opened his mouth, all the girls were blown out. Everyone who was going to sleep was extremely refreshed at this time, with tense eyes. Konan. 6 red suns and 5 elements enchantment. This is a special enchantment that Rinnegan can only open with the talisman paper prepared in advance. It can completely seal a space, and it is unshakable below the wood level. Konan. Yuchen and Uchiha Obito fought against each other in the Valley of the End and opened this enchantment, which is obviously aimed at Yuchen's Flying Thunder God technique. Seeing these two pieces of news, the girls couldn't sit still. Hyuga Hinata instinctively stood up and left the house, heading towards Yuchen's house. And her behavior fell into the eyes of some people, causing some waves in Hyuga's family. Yamanaka's house, Hinata made the same decision. As for Kurama Yukumo and other girls, they lived in Yuchen's mansion. At this moment, the girls were extremely nervous. Samui. I don't understand why Yuchen went to the Valley of the End and why he fell into Uchiha Obito's trap. He knows everything. Shizune. You are right on the point. Yuchen knows everything, and maybe he also knows what secret bases and hiding places Obito has. It was normal to make trouble in the past. Nohara Lin. Yes, there is indeed a secret base built by Uchiha Madara under the Valley of the End, with a large number of enchantments, where Uchiha Obito stores hundreds of pairs of 3 Tomo Sharingan. Hinata. Why didn't you say it earlier? All the girls could feel Hinata's anger at this moment. No one expected that Hinata, who is usually gentle and quiet, actually has such a side. Kuruma Yukumo, Kukina Makoto and the others haven't responded yet. She was the first to lose her composure. It can be seen that Hinata has a deep affection for Yuchen, which is very unusual. Nohara Lin. Hug. I'm sorry Kushina. Hinata-chan, don't be angry. Lin didn't know that such a thing would happen. Ju Xingna. Lin just came back to life. Yuchen asked Xianglin to take a bath. She told me many things while taking a bath. She told Yuchen after preparing. Yuchen ran out as a result. What do you call this? Who would have thought that everything would be so coincidental? Hinata. Sorry, I'm a little anxious. Hinata. I think sisters should stop discussing other things, and first find a way to help Yuchen big brother, even if it may be his scheme. That's right, Hinata is not stupid, she can even think that this might be Yuchen's calculation in turn. But without accurate information, and Yuchen didn't mention it in the diary, she couldn't relax. Makoto. Kukina, Sister Tsunade, Konan, Hakura, Shion, Kyorin. A few of us have passed by, and our strength and ability are sufficient to protect ourselves. By Wooden Golem. What about me? Me too. Makoto. Konoha may leave strength here, and put the tiger away from the mountain. By Wooden Golem. Well, I'll let Matabi and Kurama talk about it, get ready in advance. All the girls acted urgently. On the Hokage Rock, Senju Hashirama sent out a sentient contact to Senju Tobarama, and then said, we will go too. I had a weird hunch that there was something I needed to get done. Hearing this, Uzumaki Nagato and Konan naturally did not refuse. Combat power like Senju Hashirama can play a key role. At this time, Yuchen looked at Uchiha Obito, but showed a relaxed smile. It seems that you have seen the future. Instead of escaping, you choose to trap me. Could it be that you can kill me? Obito's posture at this time, and the performance that he can use Kamui but is not in the Kamui space. Zhao Yuchen only thought for a while, and guessed that he was just trying to figure him out. Obviously, he saw the future, so he made a response in advance. You know that the sky is always standing. Obito swung the flame fan and pointed it at Yuchen. I know. Uchiha Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique, Zhao Yuchen said flatly. You transplanted Fugaku's left eye? Obito looked surprised. If you want to know the function of the pupil technique, you must either tell others about it yourself, or you must master the method of using the pupil technique, and you will know it naturally. According to what he has done, although Uchiha Fugaku has shown his Mangekyo Sharingan ability to Uchiha Itachi, the specific information has not been disclosed. Yuchen wanted to know, unless he mastered the pupil technique after transplantation. You can understand it that way, Zhao Yuchen said calmly. No wonder you wear a white cloth in front of your eyes, originally to cover up the Mangekyo Sharingan you put on. Obito thought he had guessed the answer, and sneered, well, Uchiha, am very powerful. Yuchen. He never knew that Obito admired Uchiha's power so much. This should be Uchiha Madara's line more than Uchiha Obito's. Too much nonsense. Zhao Yuchen swept around, and used the heavens Yuzhong to take out dozens of specially made kunai in the forbidden space, and scattered them, falling to various areas. The enchantment of 6 red yang and 5 elements only restricts him from leaving, but it does not mean that he cannot use the Flying Thunder God technique within the enchantment. Used against the enemy, it is still powerful. Scorch style, steam spiral shuriken. Zhao Yuchen's figure suddenly disappeared, and when he reappeared behind Uchiha Obito, there was a piercing roar from his hands. He is seen with a Rasengan in his hand, with a scorch-style chakra on the outside of the sphere forming a red fiery shuriken. This is a special Rasengan shuriken he created in combination with Rasengan, which can be thrown without the need for senjutsu. Because scorch style itself has such special effects. Boom. Red shuriken flew out, drawing a clear line through the air. Swish. Uchiha Obito raised his hand and sucked the scorch-style spiral shuriken into the Kamui space. Seeing this, Yuchen clapped his hands together. Sage mode, Takumi. The natural energy was used crazily, and it condensed in Yuchen's body in the blink of an eye, and special spells appeared around him. Sage art, Thousand-bird thundernet. Zhao Yuchen raised a hand forward. Countless purple-black thunderbolts blessed by the celestial art chakra flew out, turning into a net and covering Uchiha Obito. Go. Uchiha Obito threw the flame fan casually, hit the purple-black grid, completely sucked it, and got up in midair. Universal pull. Uchiha Obito raised a hand to Yuchen. The next moment, a suction force appeared out of thin air, and Duchen flew in the direction of Dai Wang. At the same time, a wood-style avatar emerged from Obito's body, and quickly produced 2 black sticks after landing. This is an attempt to seal Yuchen with yin-yang escape. But Yuchen's movements were faster, and he formed a mudra with one hand the moment he felt the suction. Scorch style, Fire Lotus Shuriken. A dozen fire lotuses formed, turned into shurikens, and flew towards Uchiha Obito. Boom. The fire lotus collided, a huge explosion occurred, and steam filled the air for a while. Yuchen found that Uchiha Obito's figure was suddenly lost in his perception. Shua. Without any hesitation, he directly adapted to the Flying Thunder God technique transfer. And at the moment he disappeared, a space Uzumaki appeared beside him, and a red steam shuriken flew out of it. It was the same scorch-style spiral shuriken that Yuchen used to attack Obito earlier. Boom. The attack landed on the head of the Uchiha Madara statue, punching a hole directly. After Yuchen left, he immediately separated a shadow clone, and then with a flash of eyebrows, Kamui sent the shadow clone into the space. In the Kamui space, Yuchen shadow clone uses Kagura Mind Eye to perceive Obito's position immediately after entering, and then directly casts Flying Thunder God to the node closest to him, and at the same time uses Ninjutsu Chidori. You really came in. Looking at Yuchen shadow clone, it's not surprising. All of this, he has seen in the future, belongs to the known content. Originally, he was very passive by this sudden scene, and was even almost killed by Yuchen. He barely survived by relying on the god Luo Tianzheng, but he lost the opportunity. After that, Yuchen tried to escape from Kamui's space, but his right arm was chopped off, and Kamui snatched the air. Seriously injured, he barely escaped, and activated the 5-element barrier to barely block Yuchen's pursuit. As a result, when he thought he was about to escape, he was stabbed in the back by Black Zetsu and died a miserable death. This time, knowing the future, he certainly did not allow this to happen again. Kakashi, I can't even protect my Sharingan, you really are a waste. After the matter here is resolved, I will personally kill you and avenge Lin. With a cold snort, Dai Yu took out a scroll from his cuff and threw it out. Boom. 5 wood-style clones appeared, all of them carrying the forbidden charms needed by the 5 sealing enchantment. 5 seals barrier. 5 wood-style clones act together to turn this enchantment into a moving enchantment. At the same time, they also performed wood-style ninjutsu together in an attempt to restrain Yu Chen's shadow clone. It can be seen from this that Obito is a thoughtful person, and he actually thought of using the particularity of wood clone to turn the Kaifeng enchantment into a moving end. As a result, the activity space of Yu Chen's shadow clone is continuously compressed. And due to the particularity of the enchantment, he cannot use any power that will change the physical level, even if it is to remove shadow clone. A little level. Yu Chen's shadow clone gave a word of praise, and then clasped his hands together. Sage mode. The natural energy in the Kamui space swarmed and continuously entered the body of Yu Chen's shadow clone. He didn't deliberately control it, but let the natural energy continuously enter his shadow clone. There is only one result of doing this, that is, this shadow clone is finally assimilated by natural energy and becomes a stone statue. As for the physical change of turning into a stone statue, it will be prohibited by the rules in the 5 seals barrier. Then be banned. Yu Chen's shadow clone can continuously absorb natural energy. In other words, in the end, it will become a confrontation between the rules of natural energy entering the body and the rules of 5 seals. Although the 5 seals barrier is the power of Rinnegan, can Obito compete with the laws of nature? The answer is naturally no. The natural energy was used crazily, and the Yu Chen shadow clone changed, and finally remained on the verge of petrification. The 5 wood-style clones of Obito suffered the counterattack from the natural energy, and their bodies couldn't move immediately, and they were restrained in place. Now Obito either lifts the 5 barriers, and the Yu Chen shadow clone will instantly turn into a stone statue, or his 5 wood-style clones will resist Yu Chen shadow clone hard, but after the natural energy accumulates to a certain point, it will be detonated. Then at that time, it's not just Yu Chen's shadow clone who will suffer. Sage mode can still be used like this. A look of deep fear appeared in Obito's eyes. Knowing that Yu Chen can already enter his Kamui space, he didn't clean up the Flying Thunder God imprint in it, in order to invite you into the urn, restrict Yu Chen's shadow clone, and then devour it with Rinnegan. Rinnegan's specificity allows him to read some desired information from Yu Chen's shadow clone's chakra. But Yu Chen's response to this shadow clone was completely beyond his expectations. Forget it. At least make you afraid to send shadow clone into Kamui space again. Obito formed a mudra with both hands, causing the 5 wood-style clones to retreat at the same time. The 5 seal barriers are lifted, the natural energy is no longer hindered by the rules, and it fills Yu Chen's shadow clone instantly, turning it into a humanoid stone statue. Seeing this, Obito broke the stone statue with a wave of his hand, and then left the Kamui space. Snapped. He appeared on top of the stone statue of Senju Hashirama, his eyes turned around and fell on Yu Chen. This time you can't plot against me. I am not seriously injured, so I will let you experience the power of God. As he spoke, Obito made a mudra with his hands and shouted loudly. Susanoo. Immediately, a chakra with a light blue body and a slightly orange chakra on the surface rose up from the ground, and it grew into the 4th form in the blink of an eye. As for going further, it is still a level that Uchiha Obito can't reach for the time being. After all, his Rinnegan belongs to Uchiha Madara, his right eye belongs to Uchiha Fugaku, which has not yet fully fused, and the Mangekyo Sharingan in his hand belongs to him, but the position is wrong. Susanoo can be opened in this way, all because he is a Uchiha clan, and now has a lot of chakra. God's power. Slightly raising his eyebrows, Yu Chen clasped his hands together. Boom. Immediately, a gold chakra titan rose from the ground, reaching the same height as the light blue Susan in an instant. Yu Chen looked at Obito calmly, and a slightly sarcastic voice came out. You mean so? Obito. I don't think it's enough. Yu Chen asked and answered by himself, and then gave a loud shout. Sage mode. Immediately, mantras spread all over Susan. Boom. In the Valley of the End, 2 chakra titans with a height of more than 40 to 50 meters are fighting. It's not so much a battle as gold chakra titan is beating blue titan unilaterally. Regardless of the degree of chakra solidification, strength, speed and defense, the gold Susanoo Titan is far superior to the light blue Susanoo Titan. Not only that, but the light blue Susan Titan only has the weapons that ordinary Susan has, while the gold Susan Titan is equipped with special spiritual weapons such as Ten Fist Sword. All these artifacts were obtained by Yu Chen from Uchiha Itachi. After the filial son killed the Uchiha clan, he didn't forget to get the clan's spiritual weapon. Perhaps it is for this reason that most of those 3 Tomo Sharingans fell into the hands of Obito, and a small part fell into the hands of Danzo. As soon as we got here, we saw Chong Wei, Ba, Yu Chen was playing Obito. Outside the barrier of 6 red yang and 5 elements, the figures of Masamurona and others, Kukina, Rin Nohara, and Izumi Uchiha all flew over in the form of spirit bodies. Senju Hashirama was taken by Senju Tobirama's flying thunder god, and the rest were taken by Nagato summoning. Looking at the situation in the enchantment, everyone had helpless and speechless expressions on their faces, feeling that this was different from what they thought. Uchiha Obito calculated Yu Chen, is it just to find abuse? Yi Kang, who has unlimited chakra, even opened the live broadcast room for the first time, so that the girls can see the situation on the scene. By wooden golem. So Uchiha Obito is trying to find abuse? Terumi Mei. The answer is obvious, isn't it? Black soil. So, why are you guys so nervous about Yu Chen? Is he someone we need to be nervous about? Tamari. You said it as if you were not nervous at all, so why did you have to follow me to the scene? Hinata. It's good that it's okay, it's great that it's okay. Hinata. Ladies and gentlemen, please stop chatting, Sister Conan. Let Mr. Uzumaki Nagato see if you can break the barrier. Conan. Don't worry, Hinata-sauce, Nagato Factory started research when they arrived at the site. It's a bit difficult, but not impossible. Under the power of Rinnegan, Nagato put his hand on the barrier of 6 red yang and 5 elements, without any damage. Feeling the change of the chakra attribute in the enchantment, his expression changed from serious to relaxed, and he said, the 6 red sun formations are 6 wood-style avatars working together. The standing position is above the 5-element enchantment that can utilize natural energy. The 2 barriers are connected under the power of Rinnegan to synthesize the 6 red sun and 5-element barriers, and Uchiha Obito is clearly prepared. However, I only need to erase the power of Rinnegan that links the power of the 2 enchantments, and the power of the combined confinement space will disappear, and my brother-in-law can use Flying Thunder God to leave at any time. With our strength, no matter it is the 5 elements barrier or the 6 scarlet sun formation, we can easily break it. Nagato's words made everyone feel relieved. In any case, Obito's enchantment is not unsolvable, so Yu Chen's danger is not great. Although they have mastered the method of resurrection, they need to operate it specifically. If there is a problem with Yu Chen, Nagato may have to sacrifice himself to revive him, adding many variables. Then let's start right now. Senju Hashirama clapped his hands and went straight into sage mode, and became serious when he was angry. Break the barrier as soon as possible, so we can go in and help Yu Chen. The enchantment was created by Obito, and he can remove it at any time, which means that there is no reverse effect to help Yu Chen trap Obito himself. Since Obito is obviously at a disadvantage and still not leaving, there must be a backup, and he can't explain it. I need 10. Nagato said something to everyone, and began to inject his own chakra into the barrier. The power of Rinnegan's yin and yang to counter the power of Obito Rinnegan's yin and yang. Seeing this, everyone knew that they were not going to make it for the time being, and knew to wait quietly. But Yi Kang's live broadcast room was very lively. Samui. Now that you have time, let's discuss how Uchiha led the king to plot against Mr. Yu Chen. Azuki Shion. This really needs to be discussed. I can't believe that Yu Chen will be calculated. I think it may be some kind of special method. We can only avoid it after we figure it out. Kagaya-ji. If there is no accident, it should be some kind of ability to predict the future. Makoto. Predict the future. Kagaya-ji. Based on Yu Chen's understanding of us in our world, if you want to calculate him, you will be able to calculate such calculations as Lucha Yang and 5 elements barrier. It is only possible that Uchiha Obito knew the future long ago and responded accordingly. Azuki Shion. According to your sister, Yu Chen was supposed to come to trouble Uchiha Obito this time, but because the latter knew the future, he set up an enchantment in advance to plot against Yu Chen. Kagaya-ji. Not bad. Zi Yuan. With such power, should you be able to do it, your majesty? Kagaya-ji. If the concubine can do it, she won't be sealed by Hamura and Yuya, but she has peach-like white eyes. It seems that she has awakened the pupil technique that can see the future, but the conditions for using it are very strict. Z Yuan. A. The ability to see the death around me, doesn't it come from you? Kagaya G. It is true that it comes from the concubine's body, but it is not given to you by the concubine's body. Kagaya G. You witches have the special constitution of this world, combined with the light escape blood successor limit given by the concubine, you will have such abilities, that once the light escape blood successor limit is truly awakened, you will break through the concubine's body and shoot the lower upper limit shows that the chakra system occupies your body, and your ability derived from innate talent will disappear. Z Yuan. So, my ability to see the death of people around me doesn't depend on chakra? Kagaya G. Not bad. Z Yuan. Is this one of the reasons why you did not allow us to have real power? Kagaya G. You are very smart. Normally, it is impossible for Kagaya to give a strange human being great power. But with the arrogance of the Otsutsuki clan, how could Kagaya put humans in his eyes? If she would be afraid, she would not be willing to divide the power of 10 tails to create Otsutsuki Yuya and Hamura, and finally took advantage of the stinky toad. The real reason for imposing restrictions on the priestesses is that they can use their talent to see death, so that they can better seal the evil spirits. The place where the witch lives is the place where the soul of the demon is sealed, so if the latter changes, it will definitely bring disaster to the sealed place immediately. By predicting that the people around her will die at the hands of the demon, the witch can make early preparations to seal the demon again. But these willingness, with Kaguya's temper, it is naturally impossible to take the initiative to explain. Z Yuan. So that's the case, thank you, your majesty. Kagaya didn't answer. With her arrogant personality, it is impossible for her to be emotional about such trivial matters. Yuhihong. If so, how could Uchiha Obito have the ability to predict the future? Nohara Lin. Could it be a coincidence? If I remember correctly, this 5-element enchantment was arranged by Uchiha Madara, and everything was guided by the Black Network. Kushina. There is actually a relationship with Black Zetsu, by the way, at Kagaya. Can't you get in touch with you, a dutiful son? Kagaya. It is said to be a filial son, but it is actually the black consciousness created by the concubine's yin and yang escape technique before being sealed. The meaning of existence is to save the concubine's body and save himself. It's normal, isn't it? By Wooden Golem. If you want to say that, it seems that you are right, Shadow Clone has to protect the deity. Kagaya. My concubine also wants to contact Black Zetsu. Giving the promised things to Yu Chen earlier will also deepen our mutual trust. Maybe he can let me go out in advance so that we can deal with Otsutsuki together. Karama Yukumo. It's a pity, this black and dark guy still doesn't know where he is doing trouble. Is it really your will, Kagaya G? Kagaya. Eat a pit to gain wisdom, if you are not careful, you will be tricked. Makoto. As for Uchiha Obito's ability to predict the future, I have a guess, which should be related to Uchiha Fugaku. Ju Zuna. Can it be related to this free-for-all, the most trashy Uchiha patriarch? Makoto. I don't know if you still remember, Yu Chen didn't get Fugaku's complete research from Itachi, only got the left eye, and the right eye seems to be given to Uchiha Obito by Itachi. Samui. Come to think of it, Uchiha Obito seems to want to use this to own the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Ino. That is to say, Fugaku owns Mangekyo Sharingan, no wonder Yu Chen big brother said he gave it for free, making people speechless. Tsunade. You mean, the awakened Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Fugaku can see the future? Female. Can see the future and let the Uchiha clan be wiped out. Don't be too outrageous. Makoto. I erased all the memories related to Uchiha Fugaku, but the information is still there. His Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique can indeed see the future. Tsunade. Even without tinted glasses, I think your Uchiha clan is talented. Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Shisui, together with 3 pairs of Mangekyo Sharingan, are all powerful existences at cage level. Although this kind of strength is not enough to defeat Konoha, it is definitely possible to intimidate the high-level Konoha headed by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Because of Hyuga Hazashi, the Hyuga family had a gap with Sarutobi Hiruzen and others. Hitaki Kakashi and Sarutobi Hiruzen also have gaps, and will bring Might Guy and others to stand by. Ino Shika Cho seems to be surrounded by Hokage, but due to the death of 4th Hokage, there is a gap with the 3rd-generation regime. In particular, the Yamanaka family and the Aburame family, as families whose roots often search for talents, actually have gaps. Konoha has never been monolithic inside. Uchiha has 3 pairs of Mangekyo Sharingan. As long as he doesn't directly betray Konoha, can Sarutobi Hiruzen forcefully suppress him? The old monkey has no such courage, but the performance of the 3 people who started Mangekyo Sharingan was ridiculous. Uchiha Shisui knows that the family is the same as the village, and what he wants is to make the existence stronger while honoring the family. But he did not see that the reason for the Uchiha clan's coup was not the desire for power, but the persecution by high-level officials such as Sarutobi Hiruzen. What's even more stupid of him is to tell outsiders about the pupil technique of distinguished heavenly gods. Who in power can stand this kind of pupil technique? If you say it, you will die. Ridiculously, he thought controlling Fugaku's mind with the distinguished heavenly gods would do the trick. If the Uchiha family had the final say by Uchiha Fugaku, there would be no future at all. Let alone Uchiha Itachi, who can slaughter parents, innocent old and weak women and children, no matter what the reason is, he is a damn beast. The most ridiculous thing now is Uchiha Fugaku, who also uses the power of Mangekyo Sharingan. Not to mention, the pupil technique can also predict the future, which is equivalent to being a player who holds the script. With strength, status, and power, knowing the future on such a basis, the Uchiha clan is going to be wiped out, and only 2 sons are left. And he did nothing, chose to let Uchiha Itachi kill himself. How ridiculous. Anko. Brain is not enough to describe Uchiha Fugaku. Samui. That's right, if a wolf comes up, it only knows to lead the people to resist, if another wolf comes up, it only leads the people to escape. Uchiha Fugaku knows that the future will still be like this, really it is not as good as Guangsheng. Ju Xingna. You can talk, so just talk a little more. Fragrant phosphorus. How much purification did the Uchiha family accumulate to simultaneously cultivate these 3 cobblers? Z Yuan. Admiration, admiration, Ino. The show is in front of me, but I can't say it. Makoto. It is normal for the Uchiha clan to perish if there are such things. Black soil. That's right, huh? Are you just a weird person? Yuhihong. Sister Makoto, you are also from the Uchiha family. Makoto. Nonsense, I am from the Zhao family, please call me Zhao Makoto from now on. It really is clean and thorough. Hinata. Everything is still guesswork, ladies, please don't rush to discuss. At Otsutsuki Kagaya, Sister Kagaya, the power to see the future must be very rare. Do you know anything about this kind of flower tube Sharingan pupil technique? Kagaya. Not surprisingly, it should be a kind of pupil technique of foreseeing the future brought by the fruit of the tree of God. Makoto. That's right, it seems to be the name, I have an impression. Kagaya. That's right, the pupil technique of Tianji Changli is very special. Even the owner of Rinnegan Sharingan rarely awakens it, but because it involves the power of time, I have understood it. Kagaya. Standing in the sky can not only see the power of the future, but also use chakra to continuously simulate the future, and constantly change certain conditions or nodes to see different answers. Kagaya. This answer may be the development route of the parallel world, but the high probability is just a simulation, because the strength, vision, and known information of the person who exerts the power of the sky will make the simulation not absolute. Kagaya. To give a simple example, if the concubine has the standing of heaven, and sees that she is sealed by Yuya and Hamura, she can respond in advance. And the best way, I believe you can also think of it, is to prevent Yuya from being bewitched by the toad. But at that time, I didn't know the existence of the stinky toad. Unless I happened to know this part of information when I foresaw the future, I wouldn't take it into account, and the simulation couldn't simulate the desired result. Kagaya. The more information you know, the less possibility of accidents and the greater the possibility of controlling the future. Hinata. Understood, if Uchiha Obito really foresees the future, he should be found and obliterated by Yuchen Big Brother, or some kind of bad end, so now make arrangements in advance to deal with it. Hinata. But if he doesn't know all the information about Yuchen Big Brother, or the information he hasn't seen in the future, he can't consider that the simulated future is just the future he wants to see. Kagaya. Not bad. Tsunade. So, Fugaku used his own narrow perspective to simulate various trends of the Uchiha clan, and finally chose to keep Sasuke and Itachi? Black soil. I can understand it, but I still think it's outrageous. Yi Kang. Then I can understand what happened to Uchiha Obito's expression of eating shit. In the future he foresees, Chen probably didn't use Susanoo. Shizune. It is completely understandable. Chen got the left eye Kamui from Kakashi, and also has the flying thunder god technique. It is not difficult to kill Obito in a wave without any intention. How much experience will be revealed? Fragrant phosphorus. So this Uchiha Obito thinks he controls the future, but actually knows nothing about the power of Yuchen Big Brother. Samui. By the way, Uchiha Fugaku's left eye is in Yuchen's hands, and Uchiha Obito may not even have the ability to simulate it by trial and error in advance. Terumi Mei. No wonder she acted so sloppy when facing my man. Aster. So this Uchiha Obito is now in a cocoon? Nohara Lin. Well, everyone, I am not pouring cold water on everyone. I have seen Obito's actions these years, and I have a very good understanding of what he does. If it sounds good, it is cautious. Go is very, he abandons everything including morality, dignity, memory, etc., just to display infinite Tsukuyomi. Nohara Lin, without more than 100% certainty, he would not choose to head with Mr. Yuchen. Nohara Lin. If he really foresees his fate of being killed, he will definitely choose to run away and hide better. For Uchiha Obito, everyone just needs to hate. Regardless of whether he is for love, or the so-called knowing the cruelty of this world, what he has done has annihilated the three views of human nature, and he deserves to be cast aside. Only Nohara Lin, as the person who caused all this to happen. She also strongly disagrees with Uchiha Obito, but can't say anything. But her position is also very firm, thinking that Obito did something wrong, even for her sake. If Uchiha Obito wanted to avenge her, like setting up blood fog policy in Kirigakure, she would feel cruel but not wrong. The two sides were originally in a life and death war position. But he can't help but attack Muyi, his mentor, and Kushina. Let Uchiha Obito die and all ashes are fine too. Hinata. So, Uchiha Obito still has a backup. The relaxed atmosphere in the group dissipated immediately, and the expressions of the girls became serious again. Outside the barrier of the Valley of the End, the eyes of Konan, Tsunade, Yi Kang and others became sharp. But none of them can compare to Senju Hashirama. These two guys fight and fight. Why did they choose here, and gave me and Madara's statue? Senju Hashirama said, full of resentment. Everyone. And at this time, within the barrier. Being knocked back again, Susan could barely maintain his body. Uchiha Obito knew that he would not be Yuchen's opponent, so he didn't waste any more time. Black Zetsu, haven't you brought Uchiha Madara yet? If you lose this opportunity today, you probably won't have another chance to plot against Yuchen. Obito opened his mouth with a cold face. As soon as he said this, the expressions of Yuchen and all the girls changed. Well, Uchiha Obito is not alone, he also has Black Zetsu as reinforcements. But what about Uchiha Madara?